covered. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
And the two-strike pitch. Got him! The Red Sox wagon rolls on. 11 straight wins as the Red Sox get back to 500. What a glorious day at Fenway Park as the Red Sox sweep the first-place Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah, what can you say? 11 straight. They've turned this thing around. You are 16-2 in your last 18 games. That's just an amazing run. They're playing with confidence, getting it all, pitching, defense, offense. Got two more against these boys, right? Try to take the whole weekend.
Get greedy. Red Sox win again. 5-3 the final.
Got a funny little feeling. My arms are shaking like a lightning rod, yeah.
Good Saturday afternoon here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Andy Hart and Jake Seymour, Medicine Woman, to my left in studio to bring you through the afternoon. And who knew, Jake? I got to tell you, a lot's changed in my life over the last few months. If you had said to me in early April, mid-April, wherever it was going, you'll be over at 98.5 The Sports Hub on a Saturday afternoon with Jake Seymour, I would have said who, no offense.
None taken.
And I would have said where and why, and there are a lot of details. But then if you had told me a week from Patriots training camp, we're going to be doing an afternoon show on a Saturday, and we're going to be leading, not with the Patriots, not with Mike Vrabel, not with Drake May, but with the Boston Red Sox, I'd be like, oh, because it's been that bad a season, and we're just going to talk for an hour and a half about who they're going to trade for and who they're going to trade, all these things. No. We're going to talk about the Boston Red Sox because we knew the second half of the baseball season post-All-Star game would start at Fenway Park with the best team in the American League playing. We thought it was the Rays. We didn't know. It might just be, I'm getting into it. I'm leaning into it.
Oh, you're having the juice. The Kool-Aid is flowing today.
It might just be your Boston Red Sox. They sweep the Rays in a doubleheader to open the second half of the season, which isn't really the second half of the season. They have now won 11 in a row, most in a decade. Do you know the franchise record is only 15 in a row? They're knocking on the door. I also went and looked. You know the second longest winning streak in baseball is? I believe it's 4 right now, maybe 5. They have double the longest winning streak in baseball right now. I think it's the Orioles have 4 or 5 in a row. And they just continue to find ways to win. Oh, first game of a doubleheader, let's just blow somebody out. Let's just go 10-0. How you like them apples, right? Let's get a nice Jake Bennett performance, and we'll just cruise to victory. Second game? We might have a little early struggles, give up some runs. Oh, no, here's where the winning streak ends. Oh, no. Bullpen steps up, timely hitting steps up. You win again. So that's where we're starting here. 617-779-0985. Join the conversation. Because if, Jake, you picked up on my energy, the Kool-Aid, I feel like I have to start at least considering taking the Red Sox seriously.
I think you have to take them seriously at this point because they've won so many games in a row. Like 11 games.
Yeah.
This team was dead in the water. We were going to talk about trading Aroldis Chapman, Wilson Contreras. Everyone. It was going to be a fire sale is what a lot of people were discussing. And now we get to talk about them actually winning baseball games and being in the playoff race, which is partially because the American League has been so bad, so that kind of opened it up. But still, an 11-game winning streak, you can't snub your nose and say, just 11 games. No, 11 games. Yeah. Again, the franchise record, like you said, is 15. I think
and it was like 1946 or something. It stood for a long time.
You have to at least be open to the idea of this team being a real threat, especially with the level of talent they're facing in the second half of the season.
So over the last couple weeks, I've obviously had a bunch of fill-in shifts here, the holiday weeks, 4th of July, all that. And the whole question was, are you buying, and is it sustainable? And my answers were no and no. But how long do I keep watching them sustain it before they have notoriously, different manager, notoriously come out of the All-Star break as not a very good baseball team. And if you read some of the stories, pre-All-Star break, Chad Tracy talked to his team about make sure you're engaged every day. Don't just put your feet up. We got to keep this momentum, so keep your body and your mind in the right position. Then they had a meeting right after. Boom, 90% of the players showed up for the workout. They're engaged. They're winning baseball games. They brought the momentum. They didn't lose it. And he admitted that they needed a rest. Chad Tracy admitted that they were kind of grinding in New York and kind of needed a little bit of a break because this team is finding ways to win with everybody and anybody, all hands on deck, right? And that's a lot of reasons why some people say not sustainable, right? This isn't your marquee players doing marquee things, and you just expect to continue. But I'm with you. 11 games is 11 games. When you're starting to talk about franchise records for a team like the Red Sox, and a franchise record of 15 games in a row that dates back to 1946, I believe. It was the 40s. It was a long time ago. It was pre most people listening. I don't think anybody had a chance to watch it. I haven't run the numbers. Maybe there's a couple of you out there listening. If you are, by the way, give us a call, 617-779-0985. But you have to start to take them seriously. And this idea that this 10-game homestand, that's another thing. 2 games in a row at Fenway Park in one day? 17 and 27 before that? Oh, no. Uh-oh. Can we suddenly win at home, too? Suddenly we got a little Fenway momentum as well, Jake?
They got the juice going. They really do. And I think you're getting production from anybody on this lineup right down to, we talk about Marcel Myers, right, and the guys that are coming off. I don't see him being inserted into the lineup and having that big of a production because they're finding it in guys who weren't either – some of them were on the roster at the start of the season, but a lot of these guys were coming up from the minors leagues, and you're seeing them develop in real time. So that, to me, is what makes it almost – you want to say unsustainable because you're getting production from so many guys that eventually the average is going to average out, and it's going to be, well, yeah, look at the talent and look at the players. These players were never big league players throughout the year. They all got really hot at a good time. And I think also a lot of teams, the All-Star break, you kind of see them start to ease off the gas a little bit leading into it. So is that a sign of a good baseball team? I know it's 11 games, and that's nothing just to write off. But, again, when it's happening. It's not like they won 11 games in the crucial part of the year in September. Now, this has propelled them into third place in the American League East. They're 500. They can go above 500 for, I believe, the first time all season or a handful of times at minimum. So that's nothing to look past. But when you look at the roster and you look at who's contributing, it's hard not to say this is all going to average out eventually, and they're going to maybe become a team that's right around 500. There are a few games over it, a few games under it, back to 500. But maybe it won't be as bad as what it was in the first half of the year.
So coming out of the All-Star break, I'm not an analytics guy. I don't even play one on the radio. I hate analytics. But I do read them, and sometimes they help, sway you in a certain direction. ESPN's analytics coming out of the All-Star break, so that's before 2 wins yesterday, was projecting the Boston Red Sox to finish at 82-80, 2 games above 500, with a 51% chance, you heard me right, 51% chance to make the playoffs. So more likely than not, by just a sliver, that they are to make the playoffs. And I think some of us may have raised an eyebrow there, but then you see the way they start the second half, and it makes you want to buy into it. One more layer I want to add to this, though, and you brought it up. The Marcelo Meyer and the Roman Anthony, the guys they're doing it without, Trevor Story, Garrett Crochet, hell, half the roster, right? Half your star players are not part of this. I was reading The Athletic today, and Jen McCaffrey's sort of recap of yesterday's action, sort of a column/game story, brought up the idea that they are doing it without all these guys. And she had an interesting note, which she wrote this sort of matter-of-factly, and I always, when beat writers write something matter-of-factly, I find it I trust them. They're there every day.
Noteworthy.
They talk to everybody. She writes, after doing 2 paragraphs on all the medical updates, Marcelo Meyer's doing this, Roman Anthony's doing this, Garrett Crochet's doing this. Nevertheless, at some point, these players will return. So she writes it as sort of a fact that these players will return, that you're going to have Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, Trevor Story, Garrett Crochet, Early, all these guys who are in various states of rehabilitation back out there. Which makes me wonder, what's that transition going to be like, if indeed that starts to happen? Because you want good players, right? Even though good players were a sucky team, it was a bad combo. Everything they put on the field for whatever short period of time, they were a bad baseball team, right? They dug the hole that we are now impressed they dug out of. How does that work when they all start coming back? And what if you lose a couple games and you're like, hey, these other guys, these 4A players, these try-hard players, they were winning baseball games before you stars sauntered back in here.
So I think it opens up a bigger question is, do the Red Sox have an ego problem with these young players? And do these young players overvalue who they are right now as a ball player? And does that impact their development? Because Marcelo Meyer at this point has been a bust. He has not lived up to any expectations that the organization or the fans have put on him.
Yep.
He's a smooth ball player. When you watch him play, yeah, that's a baseball player. He looks like one, plays the part, will feel nice, he has a beautiful swing. He looks like a baseball player. But there's so many things that happen with him, whether it be off the field or things that even happen on the field where you're like, how do you not make that play? You know, a ground ball or maybe a bad at bat, and you say to yourself, this guy should be better than that. So when all these things start to come together, I say maybe there's something here that you can't quantify, whether it be an ego problem, it could be overvaluing who he is as a baseball player right now. So that to me, like when you talk about all these players coming back, be careful of that. And what I'm curious about too is, does Chad Tracy, does he have the guts to say to those guys, hey, get on the bench. We have players who are playing well. We won 11 straight games, and we don't need you. Will he have the guts to do that with these are guys who he coached, he's been around for a number of years. I'm curious to see if that Chad Tracy is in there or if we're going to see we got to get these guys back up because it's the future of the franchise and they need to figure it out. And that, to me, will tell you how the Red Sox feel about the rest of the season.
What will the Red Sox look like over the second half of the season? That's the lineup. Do they start to bring back the stars, all the injured guys, all the big-name guys that were losing baseball games? And where do the guys that are actually winning baseball games fit in? And you as the fan, have you reassessed your views of this team? Are you actually buying into a team? They're in the playoffs, barely, but they're in the playoff picture right now. Are the Red Sox, by golly, a playoff team? 617-779-0985. Andy Hart, Jake Seymour on a Saturday afternoon, 98.5. The Sports Hub, your call's next here.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5.
Right field, back it goes, it is gone, over the bullpen. Swings and drives another one, right field deep, backing up to Luka, he watches it go, he's done it again.
Try-hard Red Sox, but Wilyer Abreu is not a try-hard. He is one of your core players, Wilson Contreras. You got some guys that are legitimate major leaguers, and then you got some other guys that are taking full advantage of their opportunities, kind of like Andy Hart and Jake Seymour are doing on a Saturday afternoon here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. I promised it. You loaded them up, so we're going to get right to the phone lines. The Boston Red Sox, 11 in a row, sweep the Rays in a doubleheader yesterday. How you feeling? Are you buying? Are they a real playoff team? Let's start things off with, let's go to Nick in Attleboro for a thought on the Sox. What's up, Nick?
Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm with you, Andy. I'm starting to drink the Kool-Aid. Not so much that they're winning, but they're actually fun to watch. I started watching. I was excited for the beginning of the year, and I'm sorry, they were stinkers. It was they get down by 2 runs, and you knew they were going to lose the game. It's like now, watching the game last night, I was like, holy crap, they're battling back. Like, they're fun to watch. And I agree with you. I don't remember if it was you or Jason who said it, but I'd like to see how Tracy's going to react. I mean, I'm a fan. I say ride the guys who got you here, but I also know the owners are going to be saying, hey, these are our stars. Like, we got to incorporate them back in, but I'm going to be excited to see what Tracy does. As always, guys, thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it.
Thanks for the call, Nick. Yeah, Jake. Not Jason. Jake. It was your point. And I think that is going to be a storyline at some point. It'll be interesting to see how the quote-unquote stars come back and how if it's spread out, if it's one-offs here or there. And this is a storyline that's gone back to the spring. And I said it the other day with Matt McCarthy on Felger and Maz. You know, it was also a storyline down in Foxborough. Mike Vrabel, when he came in, talked about removing entitlement from the building. Now, this was early on. Nothing was going on. This was probably his introductory press conference. And it was lauded, get rid of entitlement, and then they win, and it's all great, and he's building a culture and all those things. And I think the fired manager, who everybody likes to rip on now, Alex Cora, was trying to do the same thing this spring with Marcelo Meyer. Remember the whole thing about, he's got to earn his spot. It's not just going to be given. We'll see. And 2 or 3, 4 times he talked about Meyer in a kid isn't here yet. Like, he needs to get it before he gets it kind of thing. And now we're seeing that more on probably a team-wide basis. It feels like there was some entitlement with these Boston Red Sox, and maybe Meyer's the poster child.
Absolutely, there could be. And I think Roman Anthony could be a part of that as well.
I do, too.
I think Roman Anthony,
one of those guys.
I think he is a little bit more, mature. Maybe is a good way to put it. But
he's
at
just
the same
better.
time, yeah, he's better. But he also hasn't missed as many games as Meyer. He's been around a lot more in terms of availability. Obviously, this year has been terrible for him and a little bit better for Meyer. So I'm a little bit more, I guess, hesitant to put that same kind of blame on Roman Anthony. But Marcelo Meyer, there's definitely something here. Alex Cora, as you said, he tried to preview it and talk about it in the spring, and a lot of people got on him for that. And I didn't understand at the time because it's a coach's job or manager's job in baseball to get the most out of his players and help develop it. So if that's how Cora felt it had to be as a former ball player, fine. Tracy seems like it's been a little bit different path, and maybe that speaks to how the organization viewed how Cora handled the situation with Meyer.
And the secondary part of that is those two and their relationship. They are best buds, right? Going back, roommates, sharing cars, everything they did in the minor leagues. They're best buds. And if one is entitled, isn't that going to make the other a little entitled, like just by sort of rubbing elbows with that same person at all times?
And I think the other part of it, too, that this is an important context to talk about, who took the bait? Roman Anthony took the Red Sox bait. He signed the contract last year. Marcelo Meyer didn't. He still hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So there's also a little bit of that I thought as well, is that could this have been something from ownership or the front office going on the corner saying, hey, you need to talk about it in this way and get on him more because he's not taking our contract and we want him to sign him for a longer deal right now. So I also didn't discount that as part of it and saying the Red Sox want to keep the players in the contract as cheap as possible, and if they can get Meyer locked up, they'd love to do it.
And now I'm not sure they want to lock up Marcelo Meyer because he hasn't been good. He just hasn't been. I mean, we were sold that this guy was a generational change the franchise. Because if you remember, back in the day, years ago, it was Marcelo Meyer. We didn't know the name Christian Campbell. We didn't know the name Roman Anthony. It was Marcelo Meyer. Was supposed to be the number 1 overall pick. He falls to number 4. Red Sox take him. Shortstop, stud. This is a guy we're going to build around. This is going to be, the pedestal upon which the entire franchise is rested. And now Roman Anthony obviously surpassed him. Christian Campbell joined the fun for a while and then took the contract, and then you may never see him again because he stinks at Worcester, never mind coming back to the Boston Red Sox. But that has been a fascinating subplot to this team for multiple years. Brian Bayo. You got all these guys signing contracts, big league, long-term contracts that are going back to Worcester and may or may not ever come back. Obviously, Bayo came back. Is he ever going to be what he was supposed to be, a top of the rotation starter? And it's seeming less likely by the day. But that is definitely what you bring up, how those contracts affected the standing within the organization of the players at I think Christian Campbell beat out Marcelo Meyer last year for second base because he had played ball, signed the contract. Marcelo Meyer didn't. Meyer goes down, and remember opening day, he was kind of complaining. He's like, I felt like I made the club. I feel like I should be in Boston, not Worcester. So that whole, I guess, culture you'd call it, of those young players and how they're coming together as the core of this team is definitely an aspect to this team.
Yeah, and I also think it goes back to how the Red Sox probably view themselves as an ownership and front office, is that they think of this as a business, and these are assets. The players are assets to this business and this company. So what does this company do? They try and lock up all these pieces so they can have them for the long term and say, yeah, even if we waste $100 million, at least we have this asset under our control. And to that point, I'll say, you talk about being cheap on money and you want to be smart about it and have this small market approach. You can't waste money with guys in AAA. They might have the highest payroll for ball players at the AAA level. That's not okay. That says it's bad evaluation, bad foresight. I don't care what kind of businessman you are. If you miss that often on a business or a stock or whatever the case may be, you're not good at what you do. I'm sorry, just what it is.
I know people throw controlled cost control. But if you control a cost, that's great. Okay, sure. But if the guy stinks, he stinks. Yeah. Whether you're paying him $3 million, $5 million, or $8 million, if he stinks and he's actually in Worcester, you're right. Christian Campbell is a rich guy in Worcester. I hope he's buying lots of meals and suits and doing nice things for some of the other players down there. Because even though he's young, he's a rich guy. He's set for life, right? He took the deal. So it is going to be interesting. But let's not get too far in the weeds. The top of this is they've won 11 in a row. They're back in the playoff picture, baby. They're headed towards the postseason, or at least we think they are. And as our first caller alluded to, maybe the most important thing, they're entertaining. They're watchable again. Early in the year, they weren't that. 617-779-0985. Let's go back to the phone lines. Let's go to Dan in Rhode Island. What's up, Dan?
Andrew, good to hear you, my friend.
Thank you. How you doing?
I'm doing. Just might digress for a minute. It's good to hear on the weekends. I'm a weekend warrior, and used to love calling you on weekends. And when you went full-time on weekdays, I was kind of disappointed. But I also knew that that's a graveyard, and I figured you'd be back on weekends eventually over here. So
Yeah.
Just good to hear you again. I'm glad things worked out. Just go on the Red Sox real quick. Look, if anybody can contribute. I don't care about the politics of anything. I'm of the notion that there is not going to be baseball next year for an extended period of time. Period. I'm just convinced of it. So if Roman Anthony can come back and he can hit, if Marcel Meta can come back and he can hit and he can contribute, any of them, I don't really care, because right now it's just all about playing for this year. Because I don't know what you guys feel about it, but it just seems like we're headed for a very protracted non-baseball season next year, and I'm not waiting until 2028 to root for a team again. That's it. Take care.
Thanks for the call, Dan. Thanks for the kind words and also accurate predictions that were mixed into your kind words there. That is another layer to this. If you're watching a season this year that is the final season for if you miss a year, right? And everybody has kind of accepted that, right? Even though they're putting out MLB 2027, that might be the only version of MLB in 2027 that exists. And that also plays into, again, I don't want to get caught too much in the weeds of finance and contracts and things of that nature, but there could be a new structure to Major League Baseball moving forward of contracts and finances and salary cap, salary floor, various issues that will affect teams. Rosters will be built around. I don't know whether that plays into the thinking of anybody at the deadline. I don't know if you're a smart team, can you take advantage of that? Is there a team looking to unload some salary that actually believes, yep, we're going to miss baseball, and I have this long-term contract that I want to get rid of because this is going to be a hindrance to me in whatever the structure is moving forward? Are the Red Sox able to pounce? I heard Alex Barth when we were driving in talking about Mason Miller and Xander Bogaerts as a package deal where you can get Miller the value if you take Bogaerts, the contract that no one wants. Is it possible that in a post-lockout CBA you might be able to take advantage of that situation? Because I don't know if you know this about me. Mason Miller, I lust after Mason Miller. I have dreams about Mason Miller. That is my closer of the future if I in any way had any say over the Boston Red Sox. But that's another factor that hangs over this season and this trade deadline, right, is that there's a work stoppage coming.
But doesn't that mean that the Red Sox have to spend money? And are you confident that they want to spend that money? Like, if you're a business and they're operating this as a business,
yep, and
there's going to be a stoppage at the end of the year, do you want to spend more money on what players that may not be, not saying Miller, but Bogaerts, in 2 years from now, is he going to be the player that you want him to be?
Well, I will say they're already benefiting from their winning, but I don't think it's a good idea to go into a work stoppage being the forgotten baseball team like they were a month and a half ago. If you continued that and you just absolutely struggled to get to the finish line of this season, you lost some fans along the way, right? Yeah. During that losing. And then you have a work stoppage, you're losing more fans. Now, as your team, I don't care about America's most beloved ballpark. It's going to take you a little while to get the traction back. Where I do think if you at least put together what they're doing right now, win a little bit after you were sort of dead and forgotten, maybe even go to the playoffs. Hell, maybe win a series, advance from last year. I do think that buys a little cachet heading into a lockout as you try to figure out when baseball is coming back and if my fans are going to come back with the games.
Yeah, I just think that they're not going to want to put that money on the table, especially if we're talking about how this has changed, like salary cap. So now you're going to have players and you're going to be operating over the salary cap. You're going to have to shed that money. How are you going to shed that money with other teams who are now dealing with a potential salary cap? To me, that just doesn't scream what the Red Sox are, who they've become, really. I think it was different for the first 18 years of the John Henry ownership group, and now that's changed into this small market and a big market franchise. So I would love if they went out and if they bought and got good players and they made a legitimate run at this. But this is also why I'm not buying in on them, is because I don't think that ownership in the front office is fully bought in. Because what's going on with Breslow, too, by the way? Is he going to get his contract extended? The Red Sox are going to be operating at a trade deadline with a head of their front office not either under contract and they don't know what's going to happen in the future with that. I don't want Breslow dealing in the deadline if that's the case. He needs a contract extension. He's going to do the deadline.
What's going on with Craig Breslow? What's going on with the trade deadline? Jeff Passan has some thoughts on the surging Sox. 617-7790-98.5. Your phone calls. But first, we have headlines with Jake Seymour.
Boston's home for sports. When it comes to Boston sports, we're fans just like you. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
As exciting as this 10-game winning streak is, and it's brought the Red Sox back from the precipice of dead, they're still not all in at this point in terms of the trade deadline. And look, the next 10 days are going to say a lot about what the Red Sox do. They've got series against the Rays, against the Orioles, against the Blue Jays, all within the American League East. And while reaching the top of the division and overtaking the Rays is not a particularly realistic thing at this point, we see that they're still under 500, and yet they are tied for that final wild card spot. So if in these next 10 days the Red Sox keep winning, they will push. They will look to get batters. And, there were teams out there thinking Aroldis Chapman's going to be available, and Wilson Contreras is going to be available, and Sonny Gray is going to be available. The likelihood of that has gone down quite significantly because of their success. But at the same time, if things go poorly over the next few days, I think the Red Sox also understand not many teams right now have committed to selling. And if the Red Sox could take advantage of that, they certainly would do so.
If you were listening carefully, you know that audio came from during the day yesterday with Jeff Passan, because, Jeff, it's not a 10-game winning streak. It's 11. And, Jeff, they're not a game below 500. They are 500. And they are in the final tie for the wild card spot. But that's Jeff Passan saying the Red Sox still not all in. So maybe a little bit like we are, like sipping the Kool-Aid but not gulping the Kool-Aid if you're Craig Breslow and John Henry and company. And I'm sure that's a concern for some Red Sox fans that are buying in, that are watching, that are starting to get back on board, because we want to dream now, right? Buyers. The other issue is the way baseball is and all the teams being hesitant. So, like, just quick math, you have 6 teams right behind you in the wild card chase within 3.5 games that can probably convince themselves, oh, we're still in it. We're not trading any pieces off. We're not making any moves. So it is going to be an interesting trade deadline, but I think more and more fans are now hopeful that they're going to be buying.
I think so, too. I think you're definitely right about that. And shouldn't that aggravate you as a fan, by the way? Your team isn't drinking its own Kool-Aid and not being excited about the product that it's delivered, because even though that clip was a game old from what it was, you think that one game changed what the Red Sox feel about their team? No.
How far do they need to go? Because that's an interesting part of this, and Jeff brought up the Rays, the Orioles, the Blue Jays, so teams in your own division. You got teams that are near you. I told you the Orioles had a winning streak. This is a 10-game homestand. And I was saying with Matt McCarthy, the thing I want is clarity. And they're well on their way to the clarity that I actually wanted. I said, I want 8-2. I don't want 5-5, so that they can continue to hem and haw and be half in, half out, not sure. Or if I guess clarity would have also been they come out of the break at 1-9 or 2-10, and they look like the same crappy baseball team, and we have clarity.
To be positive.
But they've got 2 wins already under their belt in one day of action after the All-Star break. So, but what do you think? What are they looking for? Like, what is their line to buy in? As I'm starting to buy in, what do they need? Do they need to see, franchise records fit? You break the franchise record for consecutive wins, and we'll be a buyer at the trade deadline. Is it a certain, spot in the standings? Is it number of games above 5? Like, what is going to push Craig Breslow, your guy who you want to, do you want him
No.
to be extension?
I don't want him to be extended.
You're not like Jimmy Stewart. Jimmy Stewart's all in. Jimmy Stewart is extension now, baby.
I don't think he should be extended. But if you're the Red Sox and you're going to let him operate your deadline, you need to extend him.
Yeah. He can't be a lame duck, but also making long-term decisions.
You can't have somebody in that position make decisions and then not extend them. No. And that would just prove to more points about the incompetence of the Boston Red Sox right now, is that they are going to operate with somebody in their front office in charge of their baseball team, not extended past this year. Come on. You can't do that.
And I haven't seen the latest, but multiple times, including during some of this winning, Sean McAdam was still on it's going to take a lot to save Breslow's job, that it was still sort of a foregone conclusion that at some point he was going to lose his job. Now, again, they've won 11 in a row. They're moving up the standings. They're a playoff team. Like, all of that has to change the perception. And also, some of the guys that Craig Breslow put together are part of why you're a good baseball team now. Even some of the guys, you know who the perfect example for the Boston Red Sox is? Caleb Durbin. It's like Durbin and the team were the same. Durbin was as bad a baseball player to start the year as I've seen. Like, he was terrible. You were like, this guy is not a major leaguer. Double-A Durbin, people were calling him, all these things. And he turns it around, and then there's like a stretch. He's the hottest hitter in baseball. Except that hot stretch got him to like 210 or 217.
He was playing so bad that
Tells you how
so
bad.
good.
And it's almost like the Red Sox. They're as hot as anybody to get to 500, to get to within striking distance of a wild card, which shows you how bad they were. But, hey, they're doing their part to make it interesting. 617-779-0985. Let's go back to the phone lines. Let's go to Josh in New Hampshire. What's up, Josh? Josh!
Hello.
Yes?
Hello, how are you?
Great. How are you?
Good. Hey, so I guess the reason I called in was I was thinking of what you guys were saying about Meyer, and it was kind of a lot of what I've heard about him. I just don't get it. Like, yeah, he's got a beautiful swing, and he looks beautiful while he's playing baseball, but like, what has he done?
Thanks for the call, Josh.
Well, that's what we're getting at. What has he done?
What's the movie with the sloth at the DMV?
Oh, the Zootopia?
Ha. Josh kind of reminded me of that. No offense, Josh, but you're a little relaxed on us. I don't know what you're doing.
There was a lot of latency maybe from here to New Hampshire.
Maybe, yeah, due
Signal
to the
not as
latency of the signal, something. But Marcelo Meyer, you said it. He is beautiful. Like, there's a lot of his game that is beautiful. I do think he's defensively a good player. I think that beauty, that smoothness that he brings shows itself defensively in a productive way. Third base, second base, shortstop. I think he can play defense at the major league level, at a high level. But offensively, it's right. Like, it's great to have a pretty swing. I don't care. Put the ball in play. Get on base. Drive in runs. Production.
He reminds me of, there's a saying in music where you ever know with rappers how sometimes people always say, I like the old rapper better than this new version. Like, people always say, I like old Drake better than new Drake.
Okay.
Or old Eminem than new Eminem, right?
Okay.
Why does this happen? Because it's hard to rap about struggle and what you're going through when you've already had the success, you have millions of dollars, you're living in the mansion, and you're not seeing the struggles anymore. Marcelo Meyer kind of reminds me of that. Because this was probably a guy throughout his entire life, he was told he's a great baseball player, he was the best on his team at every level, and just kind of cruised his way on natural God-given ability, which is great, good for him. He's very good at baseball. We all know this. And then he gets to the Major League Baseball where now a lot of guys are the same. And he's struggling maybe to adapt to the big league system, and he's no longer the best player on the team.
Yep.
And he's struggling to basically rap about the struggles because he never struggled. He never had that ups and downs throughout his life. That, to me, is how you look at him, because this guy was anointed since the day he was drafted. He went 4th overall, long before that as well, because to go that high, you're going to be talked about as a very good prospect.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the kind of similarities I see with Marcelo Meyer. I don't know if he understands what it's like not to be the very best person at this sport, and now he's trying to figure it out on the fly, and it's not going well for him.
And we saw it last year. Remember all the videos and stuff with him and Roman Anthony out, and there was like a line of girls following them into a bar, a club. Like, they've lived a pretty good life so far. You're right. But the struggles are coming where it matters most. Yeah. You know, all that life doesn't exist if you're a bum, right? He's even doing he's doing one of those like car warranty commercials this year, right off the bat. He was one of the stars. He's doing his own commercials and everything. And it's like, at some point is your bread and butter. Your bread and butter is baseball on the field, hitting, producing, being good. And so far, he hasn't lived up to it. 617-779-0985. Another player I want to get to that's been in the news for a variety of reasons this season, Jarren Duran. What do you think of Jarren Duran? Is he a long-term part of this baseball team? And by long-term, I mean post-trade deadline. I don't mean long-term. I mean late August. Is Jarren Duran a part of this baseball team? Are they a better off baseball team without Jarren Duran? Your phone call, 617-779-0985. Andy Hart, Jake Seymour, 98.5 on a Saturday afternoon.
Boston's home for sports, 98.5. The Bruins, the Celtics, the Patriots, the Sox, the Revs, and you. We're Boston's home for sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Ground ball and off the glove. It's into right field. Durbin is in. Yoshida is in. That's going to drive in 2. Durant with RBIs 2 and 3 on the day, 5-0 Boston.
Jarren Duran, former All-Star Game MVP. Guy the Red Sox apparently shopped a little bit last offseason, but didn't pull the trigger. Held on to him. And now he's batting. I wanted to look it up because I know it's I believe it's sub 200. It was like around 190.
He is batting 193.
Ooh, 193. Nice. That's not
That's
good.
a good ball player, huh?
Nope, that is not. And now he's getting into issues with Tyler Milliken, formerly here of 98.5 The Sports Hub over at Section 10, threatening to beat him up and then seemingly turtling when Tyler went up to him and asked if he wanted to talk. What the hell is going on with Jarren Duran? And do they have to unload him? Even if it's pennies on the dollar, don't you have to unload him at the trade deadline? Because we're talking about this team, this try-hard, fun, winning, cohesive, chemistry baseball team. Does he fit in with that?
Yeah, the try-hard Tracy Red Sox?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
try-hard
like that, yeah.
Tracy Red Sox.
So, Jarren Duran, we only want to talk about if he's going to be in the team or not, if they should trade him.
Yeah.
They should trade him. Are you going to get anything for a player who's batting 193?
Probably not.
No.
I don't know.
So-
Everybody tells me the Padres love him and
Well,
have
they
loved him
probably
for
do.
like a year and a half.
Okay, so you're going to get Mason Miller and
Ooh, I'm-
Bogarts for Duran?
Perfect.
You think?
Sign me up.
Yeah, oh,
you know
yeah,
how
I
people
think
say
anyone
they'll
else
drive
will
him to
take
the
that.
airport? I'll drive him to San Diego. We'll road trip it. He can get in my car, and we will just go balls to the wall across the country.
Yeah, we'll get an exclusive for this World Cup.
You know how
Road
much he
tripping
would
with
hate,
Duran.
you know how much he would hate me? We wouldn't even get to like the Mass border, and he would want
That's
out.
sport when you get to the pike.
He would dive. He would open the door and just dive out and be like, Milliken, I love you. You're better than this idiot. But he is a guy that this is where so Jarren Duran is a former All-Star MVP. He is one of your spark plugs. He's supposed to be one of your spark plugs, right? 193?
Yeah, 193.
193.
Yeah.
He's batting 193. So you can almost add him to the list. Roman Anthony, Trevor Story, guys that aren't actually on the team and contributing. He's on the team. He's just not contributing. He plays a bunch of baseball. I would definitely, I like your trade proposal. I'm not sure how realistic it is. You might have to package a few other pieces to get that deal. But it's funny because I Googled him during the break, and the first headline that popped up, Jarren Duran is making it impossible for Red Sox fans to keep defending him. He is. It's like everything he does chips away at another, because he was as popular as anybody. He might have been the most popular Boston Red Sox player about, what would it have been, about 2 years ago at this time? Ish?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm talking about, I have a teenage daughter. She liked him. She asked for a Jarren Duran jersey for Christmas, and I was like, that doesn't seem like a good investment on my part if, I don't know, long term, the whole thing. But that's how popular he was. He was sort of like, he had an edge, so teenage boys liked him, because that's not always great reasons, but he had an edge. He's gotten into some off-the-field trouble, or on the field, off-the-field
He's kind of
type.
a bad boy a little bit.
A little bit of a bad boy look to him, and he's fun to watch. When he was at his best, he's fun to watch. But right now, just not contributing. I would unload him. Let's go back to the phone lines, 617-779-0985. Let's go to Paul in Rhode Island. What's up, Paul?
Andy Hart, welcome back to prime time, baby. Listen, we had our difference, but it's okay. On the other side of the fence. But,
Yeah.
Red Sox, playoffs. Patriots, I'm going to go with all the 8 games at home, winning. And I'm going to go with the World Cup. Take it from here. I'm going to go with Spain winning, and I'm going to go with England winning today. Are you okay with that?
Thanks for the call, Paul. I'm okay with it. We got all of Paul's thoughts. Patriots going undefeated at home. I like that. I'll sign up for that. That'd be a fun football season.
It'd be good for us.
Yeah.
For our ratings. That's
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's good for everybody in the business. If the Patriots are rolling at home, even if they lose on the road, that's an interesting storyline if they lose all their road games and win all at home. But, Paul, I appreciate it. Who do you take in the World Cup? I was barely listening. I don't really need
Spain
Paul.
tomorrow and England today.
Spain and England today. I'm going with Mbappe. I've kind of fallen for Mbappe. I think he might be Messi. I really like Messi, though. Messi's my favorite. For a guy who hadn't watched any of these guys play up until about a couple weeks ago, Messi's my favorite. Mbappe's my number 2 favorite. I did like the Bellingham guy, though, from from England when he told his coach Tuchel that he didn't know what the hell he was talking about, and basically he was proven right in the events of things. All right, up next. I know you've heard a lot about it, but Jake Seymour has thoughts, and Shams Charania had information. So that's perfect. Thoughts and information come together. That is a segment here on 98.5 The Sports Hub on the Jaylen Brown trade, how it came about, where it leaves the Celtics, and where it leads Jason Tatum, and where it leaves me trying to buy that jersey that Allen Iverson was wearing into the Fanatics Fest, the new JB Sixers jersey. All that and your phone calls next, 617-779-0985. Andy Hart and Jake Seymour on a Saturday afternoon. And now Jake Seymour has some headlines coming up for you.
From the Telfair Tiger Studios, this is Boston's home for sports. The flagship station of the Patriots, Bruins, the Celtics. WBCFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Leslie Media Group station celebrating 65 years of broadcasting. Sports Hub headlines.
After sweeping the Rays yesterday's doubleheader, the Red Sox are officially back to 500. They'll play the Rays this afternoon with Patrick Sandoval on the bump. The Rays counter with Ian Seymour. First pitch scheduled for 4 p.m. And in the British Open, Sam Burns holds a 2-stroke lead for first place. Ryan Fox has jumped 50 spots on the leaderboard to be tied with Siwoo Kim for second place. And some scores around Major League Baseball. Pirates up 5-1 over the Guardians in the top of the 8th. Twins trail the Cubs 3-1. And right now, White Sox Blue Jays are delayed in Toronto. On Sports Up Headlines, they are brought to you by DNV Van Lines. Take the chance out of your move and make the sure thing with DN Van Lines, an approved mover of the Department of Defense. I'm Jake Seymour for Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Next update at 4.
The Sports Hub. 3 legendary franchises on one legendary radio station. It's the Sports Hub. No matter what team, no matter what player, no matter what coach, no matter what game, it all happens here. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
And the Sixers are now definitely a championship, type situation, but they had no idea of getting Jaylen Brown going into this offseason. Like Paul George, his contract, they would have to give up picks to get off of Paul George's contract this offseason. And now you're in a position where you get off of Paul George's contract, you throw a couple firsts in there, a couple seconds, and you end up with Jaylen Brown. They had no idea they'd be able to get Jaylen Brown in the prime of his career at the age of 29, going on 30 years old when next season starts. This for sure came out of nowhere.
That was Shams talking about the out-of-nowhere Jaylen Brown trade, which really wasn't out of nowhere by the time it happened, because if we recall the timeline, first of all, there were talks back at the trade deadline, Jaylen Brown for Giannis. Celtics are interested in Giannis. Then those were rekindled over the summer. That didn't work out. Giannis goes to Miami. And then shortly thereafter, all the reports were, they're still shopping Jaylen Brown. They're looking for 4 first-round picks for Jaylen Brown. So it didn't come out of nowhere from a Celtics perspective if you were watching, paying attention as a fan. But it is interesting that he kind of turns the table and gives you the Sixers perspective. Oh, they were just they were going to trade picks to get rid of Paul George's contract, and instead they ended up with a top 6 MVP guy, a former champion, a former Finals MVP, and they were stunned. So I found that very interesting from a Sixers perspective.
Yeah, so that's what piqued my interest with this, is that the 76ers thought they were going to have to attach picks to Paul George to move him, to get anything in return.
Right.
And the fact that they land Jaylen Brown out of all this, to me, still goes back to what we've all said throughout this whole point, is how did this happen? How did the Celtics get this poor of a trade package for a guy that led them to the 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference? They should have won beat the Sixers in the first round, gone to the second round. Who knows what happens at that point? Probably lose to the Knicks. But regardless, they should have had a better end to the season than what it was. And I'm curious, in hindsight, looking back on it, if we should have known this was going to happen, because at the end of the playoffs, I didn't think, in the immediate aftermath, before all the streams, I didn't think he was going to get traded. The streams started coming out, and it was like, okay, this might be real. There might be something here.
Yeah.
And then it quickly picked up from there. But even after the Giannis trade went down, he got sent to Miami, I think there were a lot of people who believed that this could all be rectified, and it would be okay, because you could give
for sure
Jaylen
came
Brown
out of nowhere.
For sure, came out of nowhere.
So what you could do is you could have just given Jaylen Brown the contract. You could have extended him, and you would have been okay. But it goes back to the money. Do the Celtics want to spend the money on Jaylen Brown?
No.
And obviously, the answer is no.
Absolutely. And it's funny. So I started, when we do our first show together, last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was,
I think.
and I brought up Jake Seymour, Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, a dated television reference. I'm going to bring up another one, but I think this one fits a little more because I think, like so many things, it became a meme on social media. Have you ever seen the screeching noise? You're probably wondering how I got in this situation, and I think it's a reference to a Parker Lewis Can't Lose old Fox sitcom where the show would always start with him in like a crazy situation, and then you kind of work backwards to figure out how he got himself in that situation. That's what this trade feels like. Yeah. Crazy situation, like, let's rewind a little bit and figure out how we got here. And there are some crazy theories. Obviously, I have one of my crazy theories that our guy behind the glass, George, kind of signs off on, that maybe, the end of the season, Tatum sitting out Game 7, we can't advance because if we advance, it's going to blow up our plan of trading Jaylen Brown because if we go too far, like, I don't know, the Eastern Conference Finals as the number 2 seed, people are going to lose their minds if we then tear it down. But if we lose in the first round again, well, now Brad Stevens can go to the podium and say, the path moving forward looked a lot like the path in recent years, which is early postseason exits. Conspiracy theory, sure. Or it could be much simpler as what you just said. What was that you just said? Very simple? Why they had to get rid of him?
Didn't want to pay him.
Didn't want to pay him.
The contract was too big. And I think if you read between the lines, that's kind of what Brad Stevens alluded to, that the money was too big and the path didn't look like that. But what I will counter with
Except
that
they got a $55 million player in return.
Well, but the bigger point here is Brad Stevens says that. Can you tell me a time, Brad Stevens, in the history of the NBA that a team got better moving off a star player like Jaylen Brown and they were okay afterward? I generally can't think of a time where a team had a duo and they were really good together. Like, let's go back to the Bulls, for instance, right? Scottie Pippen was the definitive number 2 guy. Michael Jordan, obviously the best of all time.
Yes.
But just for sake of argument here, Jordan was taken off that team. The Bulls struggled to get back to where they were without him. He comes back in, and what happens? It immediately goes back. They have the second three-peat. And I know that's the greatest of all time, but the parallel is that the Chicago Bulls lost a key piece of their team, their second fiddle, the pair. They lost a part of the pair, and they got worse. And it didn't get better until the pair came back together.
So I like where you're going here because, and I'm trying to think on the fly here. Optionality. When was the last time any team was like very happy that they went down the road of optionality? Now, I'll give you one that is a work in progress that could go down this road. And I would just pose this as the Dallas Mavericks. They traded Luka and they end up with Cooper Flagg, right? That could reap championship benefits at some point, right? Like, we're still in the midst of that. But I'll use your Boston Red Sox. We're around here with the Killer Bees and the Betts and Bogarts and all this. And like, we got to get rid of Mookie Betts, like for money reasons, financial reasons, right? Long-term stability, business. What team has taken that approach? Because I would argue I'm with you. You know what you want to do? Collect stars, pay stars, keep stars. I think talent wins. I think you can have all your books in order and all your optionality and sit up at a podium and talk about percentages of salary caps. You know what wins? There's a reason the Celtics, you can correct me if I'm wrong, have won more games than anybody in the NBA over the last decade.
Yeah.
I can tell you there's 2 reasons. Very simple 2 reasons, I believe. I think you might agree. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They had a stability of star power for the last decade, and you won. And you've chosen optionality over talent now. Never works. Never works.
And it's because I think new ownership came in, and Bill Chisholm doesn't want to pay the money, can't afford to pay the money, whatever the case may be. But this was strictly a financial move. And I'm just sick of people telling me that it was because of the talent, the way Jaylen Brown held himself at the end of the year. Did all those things, the streaming comments...
went off script.
Yeah. Did all those things work, or I guess... Did all those things add up to this? Yeah, sure. Everything adds up to be the outcome of the situation. I understand that point of it. But it wasn't the main reason. They didn't move off Jaylen Brown because of what he said on the stream. They moved off him because he was a lot of money, and they decided that it wasn't worth paying him that money. That's the bottom line.
And included in that money was over the next week or so, the extension he was eligible for here at $70 million a year. That's part. It's not just the current Supermax contract. It's the extension that I'm assuming they had no plans of paying, and then that opens up another. But you're right. Wasn't he kind of a pain in the ass for a long time? Didn't he do streams for a long time?
He did.
Didn't
And-
he annoy people in various ways for a long time?
Yes.
So he was here and you won.
It was okay.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, he still wins, and Tatum's out, and it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
Where's the issue? The only thing that's changed.
Something stinks.
Get the sniffer out.
Something
Joe Murray would say.
stinks. Something stinks with this whole damn thing.
So the only thing that changed in the last 10 years of players and people who have been around has been Danny Ainge is gone, but they won after Danny Ainge left the franchise.
Yep.
Well, ownership changed. That's why I say it's on Bill Chisholm, because we can get on to Brad Stevens for how the situation was managed, what the assets and the compensation was coming back, and how they got to the situation. But if the directive from ownership was, and they had a conversation about saving money and how these optionalities need to happen to, I just hate that word. By the way. It's
We
gross.
probably never need to use that again.
No.
That
Hey,
will
Brad,
give us optionality.
take that word.
He said it a dozen times.
I don't know that I'd ever heard the word. Is it a word?
It is
Just
a word.
options.
It is a word. And by the way, I also did not hear the word.
I don't think I've ever heard it in my life.
I think it's like new business lingo.
Of course it is. HR, new agey business.
Which, again,
Stick it.
perfectly fits Bill Chisholm and his ownership group.
Yes.
Because they're new business, private
equity
that wants to come in and change it. And listen, if you got the money and you think you can do it, by all means do it. But as a fan, you should be frustrated that your franchise decided to move off a top 6 player in the NBA for money reasons.
Preach it. I have the feeling if I got an email from Bill Chisholm, I wouldn't understand it. There would be like acronyms that I wouldn't know what the letters stood for. There'd be optionality and other remember Gerard Mayo's silos? We're going to tear down the silos in the building. I'm like, why are there silos in the building? That makes no sense. This is not a farm. There's no corn here. Why? Are I bet you Bill Chisholm uses a lot of acronyms
Growth
and lingo.
mindset.
Oh yeah,
Culture ad.
Optionality and the EOD today, and we're going to put a pin in that. And I'm like, I don't even know what this email says, Bill. But we used to be good before you brought this lingo to the
Internal
table.
mobility.
What is internal mobility? Is that like the
HR
parasite?
buzzword
That gives you a
bingo.
lot of internal mobility. That goes internal to external very quickly with the mobility. Yeah.
Smelly.
617-779-0985. Let's go to the phone line. Some JB calls lining up. Let's go to Chris in Hartford. What's up, Chris?
Andy, great job stirring the pot. Great radio the last couple of weeks, okay?
Thanks.
You and me might disagree, but guess what? That makes it fun. What's up, Jake?
What's up, Chris? How's it
Hey,
going?
listen, I got to let you know, okay, and I want you to go back and watch a little film because you weren't even born back then. There's a guy named A.C. Green that played for the Lakers, actually, back in the 80s. That is a glorified Jaylen Brown. Played defense, a solo guy, and could score, okay? Jaylen Brown was put with Tatum, and Tatum made him look good, and he rode the coattails for a whole decade with Tatum. But my call is about the hypocrite.
How did he ride the coat?
Jaylen Brown.
Real quick, let me interrupt you, Chris, because you were very nice early, and you said we could
Sure.
disagree. How exactly did Jaylen Brown ride Jason Tatum's coattails last year?
Well, my point was this. He's a hypocrite because when he was with Jason Tatum, all he said was, I want the pace of play to move faster because that's when he didn't have the ball. But once he got the ball, the pace of play was almost dead last in the NBA because Jaylen Brown is not a fully functional basketball player who knows how to move without the ball. And when you get paid that money, you have to do certain things without the ball to bring value.
Well, luckily, he
And
didn't have to
Jaylen
play without
Brown-
the ball last year because there was no one else on the team that could take the ball
Oh,
from him.
no. See, no.
No,
The
yeah.
bench is what. No. You see, your eye test. The bench is what did not do it. And the reason why, Andy, that Brad Stevens is going to look like a genius is because they needed minutes for Gonzalez. You guys are missing the point. The guys coming up, Brown was clogging it. Take a look. When he didn't have the ball, he wanted the pace of play up. I played basketball.
Brag. Okay, that ends it right there. As soon as you say I played basketball, Chris, thanks for the call.
Yeah, no, I like Chris. I think the thing
Appreciate
is-
the back
thing,
and
Chris,
forth.
I'll say is I got to deal with this a lot with Skaz, Joe Murray, and Street Team Joe. We always talk about the Celtics, and we have a group chat where we talk about a lot of different things, but Celtics primarily. Sometimes I need to put on my goggles and get like shovels and just make my way through the green goo that's
It's
everywhere.
unreal.
And try and understand what's happening. I say that jokingly.
So
of course.
Jaylen Brown certainly had the ball in his hands at all times last year. And I do believe a lot of it was because there was nowhere else to go with the ball. He'd throw it to Derek White. Derek White would miss the shot, and he's like, well, I probably shouldn't keep doing that. That guy can't shoot himself out of a barn. And they won how many? What was the number? 52?
Yes.
50.
Was it 52?
I think it was 52.
I think it was 52.
It was 50-something. 50-plus games for a team that the over-under was 42. So they...
56.
Oh, 56! 56 games! So they overachieved by more than a baker's dozen to what people were projecting. And Hugo Gonzalez, who 2 nights ago had 24 points, 10... So he's the future, right? We got to get Hugo. So Hugo is the next big thing. Is that accurate?
So this is where you need to like get the shovel out and start moving the green goo.
I don't think it's green goo. It's something worse and stinkier.
Hugo Gonzalez, I think, is a great player. I really do. He's a good young player. Great young player. Young prospect.
Okay, I'm getting better to your lingo. Yeah, we're because you know who's a great player?
He's a great young prospect.
Jaylen Brown.
Right. That's fair. Great young prospect.
Perfect.
Better way to say
Love
that.
it.
Okay.
And very
and
young.
I do think that he'll have a role in this team and will be a contributor in some margin. And I think it will be like you look at him and say, oh, maybe he was in the starting lineup eventually a few years down the road. But even with that being said, that whatever he can bring, is he going to reach the same level of a Giannis Antetokounmpo this year? Will he ever get to that level of stardom? No. So you mean and Baylor Shireman the Celtics did not make the trade because of Hugo Gonzalez and Baylor Shireman? That was what was holding you up?
I feel bad for those guys.
Hugo Gonzalez and Baylor Shireman are good young players. They really are. I like them both. I think they do provide something. But if you had a chance to trade 2 $5 lottery tickets for the Mega Million winning ticket, you're trading the 2 $5 lottery tickets.
Yes, that
for the Mega Million winning ticket. That's what you're doing.
Seems like an easy choice.
Even if you're going to lose the money in a year because of what Giannis's long-term, if you want to use the new business word, stability is.
Did optionality include the optionality to make Hugo Gonzalez the running mate to Jason Tatum? Did Jaylen Brown have to get shipped out of town so we can get more Hugo? A great young player, according to Jake Seymour. Hugo Gonzalez, the future of the Boston Celtics. We'll talk about that and your phone calls next. 617-779-0985. Andy Hart and Jake Seymour on a Saturday afternoon on the Hub. 56 games.
Boston's home for sports. Covered. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
I think there's a few layers to this. I saw what Brad Stevens said, tying up 70% to 2 players with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Where that argument doesn't hold up is that Paul George and Jaylen Brown are basically making the same amount. So the next 2 years, Paul George is under contract on a max deal, I think around $55 million. Jaylen Brown is around $57. So you're still tying up your salary cap with 70%. So that leads teams around the league to ask the question, like, why did you trade Jaylen Brown now? Couldn't you have waited as the summer went on, as next season went on, because he had 3 years left on his deal? Now, the answer to that is very simple. The Celtics were not going to commit a extension to Jaylen Brown. They clearly did not want him or felt strongly enough about him long-term for whatever reason internally that when his extension was going to come around in late July, they knew they were not going to offer Jaylen Brown the 2-year, $140 million plus. And that would have caused a reaction. Both sides would have had to have even harder conversations, and this could have gone another way. This could have gotten ugly potentially. But I think the question around the league is why this trade, right? Like, why Paul George? Why the picks? And clearly the Celtics like Paul George a lot.
I didn't like where that landed. They like Paul George a lot. And the more you read about this, Bill Belichick was famous for this. He used to like players that performed well against his team. There would often be a history of, oh, he did great last year. He's a free agent. Bill's going to go get him. Whatever. Wes Welker was one. Wes Welker's performances against the Patriots as a Dolphin helped him land in Foxborough and have, obviously, a great career with the Patriots. So Paul George had a very good series against the Celtics. We can all agree that. I don't want to be the stickler for details here, but 36-year-old Paul George, I believe it's 36, coming off a partial season. Why did he have a partial season, you might ask? Oh, well, he got busted for PEDs. Generally, when guys take PEDs, it's because they think they're not good enough with their regular going blood pumping through their system. So he had more tread on the tire late in the year because he missed a portion of the season. And then Jake Seymour, you're the NBA guy. Can you I believe playoff series have nice spacing between them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do.
So an older guy in a playoff series might be able to give you 6-7 good games. That is not necessarily a reflection of what he's going to be over a full NBA season the following year.
Correct. And also the gap between the series, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You get a little bit of a rest.
It's-
If you do your job.
Right.
The Celtics could have a lot of rest before they played the Knicks in the second round.
So to think that Paul George, because he played well against you in a playoff series and looked a little Fountain of Youth-esque.
So did Kelly Oubre.
Yeah. Doesn't mean I actually liked the way Brad described it during the press conference. I thought he was kind of honest. He said Paul George showed that he can still control a game for a quarter or a half. I agree with that. Jaylen Brown controlled a game for an entire season for an undermanned team that you shredded, you tore down for financial reasons. So this whole, and I don't want to hate Paul George. Do I have reason to hate Paul George? Do I have reason to hate Paul George at all?
No, you shouldn't.
Okay, so he's on the Celtics. I want to see him take the court, and I want to root for him, right? But you're making me question him. You're already you're fluffing him up to something he isn't at this point, except what he is a very expensive player. And I need one more question answered. Jake, you're my NBA guy. You're my cap guy, right? You're comfortable with the cap?
Yes. I mean, I know the cap.
So
okay. I don't think anyone knows it really well.
Right.
Just to be clear.
Should I give you a little brag?
A little brag?
I took the business of the NBA in college. It was an
Really?
entire class built around the salary cap. Jan Volk, former general manager of the Boston Celtics, taught it.
Oh, really cool.
Got a perfect midterm.
Wow.
Nailed it. It was a much easier cap.
So you
back
could have
then.
been a president of basketball operations.
Absolutely.
Front office.
On the old cap. I don't know if I know the new cap and all these other things. But the 35% thing that's thrown around, these Supermax deals are percentages of the cap, right?
Yeah.
So Jaylen Brown getting an extension isn't actually getting a raise in terms of percentage of the cap.
No, but the raise is that the money goes up because the cap is supposed to go up.
Right.
Yeah.
But my point is, he would still be essentially 35% of the cap. $70 million a year instead of $57 million a year because the cap is going up because of all the streaming and all that.
So the difference here is that you're right that the percentage doesn't change, but when you sign the guy to the extension and the percentage is going to be 35%, the salary cap should be going up. So you should be getting more money being brought in. And I think what some people are saying that with some of the RSNs and TV contracts that the salary cap maybe isn't as growing to the expected rate of what the league thought. So even though it's still the same percentage, it's less money. So teams are maybe being more financially secure or scared of that because it's not increasing.
I guess my point is just to the casual fan, you're like, oh, wow, he's going from $57 million to $70 million, a $13 million raise on the back. No, it's basically the same slot. It's the same slot he's taking up on your cap because he is a supermax, homegrown, all-NBA type player.
Where that argument doesn't hold up
is anywhere in the whole damn argument. Anywhere, you didn't want Jaylen Brown and you didn't want to pay him. Is that like, I don't mean to oversimplify it, but you didn't like him. You fell out of love. Jason Tatum is the guy. You told me Jason Tatum runs the Boston Celtics. I can remember that.
He has some kind of feel like that at this point, and with any NBA star, there is some kind of power or things that go to and caters to that player.
Yeah. Like, I go back to the divorce thing. You know when people say, I still love the person, I'm just not in love with them, and they get a divorce?
Yeah.
That's what the Celtics and Jaylen Brown were. I believe that they love the 10 years that they had together, and obviously they love winning a title, but we're no longer in love with Jaylen Brown. They're still in love with Jason Tatum, so bye-bye Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum.
The problem is that I think Jaylen Brown might have still been in love with the Celtics.
Yeah, probably.
You know, there were some things that had happened in a relationship, like not knowing that your co-star is going to not play in a Game 7 until less than an hour before tip-off. There was maybe a contract being shopped around the trade market. But I do think Jaylen Brown was still in love with the team and was maybe hurt by some of those down moments in the relationship.
You familiar with the Montreal screw job?
No.
When Bret Hart got screwed in Montreal by Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon, they took the title from him. He didn't know what was going to happen in the match. They got a quick count, boom, boom, boom. He's out.
Survivor Series 1997.
You know what I think happened in Boston? The Boston screw job. I think everybody knew what was going on except Jaylen Brown. He was getting screwed out of town, and there was a whole conspiracy. And he, despite being the best player on the team who carried them to that position, didn't know what was going on.
The reason why I want to bring this clip, too, by the way, is that he brings up the Paul George trade and his contract and what this means to Celtics. I'm not happy with – you're talking about in journalism, it's like the who, what, where, and why. I'm not happy with the why in this story. Why now? Why did the Boston Celtics feel that they had to trade Jaylen Brown on June 30th, July 1st, like that time frame?
Like,
why then? You
kind
could
of
have traded
answered
him
it.
last year. You could have traded him next year. You could have traded him at the deadline.
Okay, you bring up one that I'm intrigued by. Because I do think he answered the question of the why now because we're not giving you the extension, and we think that's going to further distance the divide between the team, and like that's going to create issues. Okay, I can buy that. You just said something. Can you say that again? Why not trade him
At the deadline or last year.
last year? Okay, I'm intrigued by this. I'm a JB guy. But if you wanted to tear it down and you were sort of hitting the reset, the injury gods gave you the opportunity, right? They tore Jason Tatum's Achilles. He's out. You could trade Jaylen Brown for future optionality and all these things you want to do and bottom out, and who knows what happens to that team last year without Jaylen Brown. That could have been a horrific
But it
basketball
started really
team.
bad. They were 0-3 to start the year. Don't forget that.
So you could have been a high lottery team, correct?
Yeah.
So I actually don't hate the – so you would have gotten multiple first-round picks for Jaylen Brown, right?
Yeah, you would have got I think you would have got a better package in return.
Better package. We now lose, so our pick is high. So we could package picks, do it. We might be picking in a very good draft, high in the draft, pairing the next generation alongside Jason Tatum when he returns from his Achilles. That is a far more palatable way to do this in my mind. I still don't love it. I still prefer to just have my 2 stars. But isn't that a better option than what we have now?
So the problem that I just push back on that is because I'm
What's
never
your
gonna,
idea? How you pushing back on?
No, I'm asking why didn't they do it? I'm not saying it would have been smart to do it. I'm just saying why did they not do this?
Okay.
My point is that I would not have traded Brown last season. I would if you wanted to move him, I would have moved him at the deadline. See what happens the first half of the year.
Mm-hmm.
If they're playing really good and they're a legit contender and everything looks great, you keep them. And then you just need to you got to pay it. It's part of doing business in the NBA. You got to pay the contract. The reason why I bring up trading him last year is that I think that the Celtics could have gotten more value for him a year ago going into it. And the also why I wouldn't have done it is because look at the Pacers. The Pacers are in basically a very similar, if not the same situations as the Celtics. The Pacers lost Halliburton in Game 7 of the Finals to an Achilles injury, ended up missing the entire season because the timing of that injury.
Yep.
And they completely bottomed out. They trade assets, reset their financial books, whatever the case may be. They bottomed out. And I think the Pacers are in a worse spot than the Celtics are right now. Not even just because of Tatum being a better player than Halliburton, but when you go down that path and you start accepting losing at the franchise, you start to have bigger issues that come up. And I'm curious to see how the Pacers address this because they were terrible this year. And those players who are on that roster, they're not going to forget that. And Halliburton's not going to want to go through that. So is there going to be some kind of issues between Halliburton and the players who went through that? And what is the kind of message does that say to your players that we're punting on this season because our best player's out? I just don't think that's a good message that you want to send to your players.
617-779-0985. We see your phone calls. We'll get to those up next. We're also going to get to, will Jaylen Brown have a new veteran star teammate in Philadelphia? Are they building a super team in Philly for the 2026-2027 NBA season? Didn't work out for the Eagles when they were the super team, but could JB be part of a super team that could win a title down in Philly? Your phone calls and a little LeBron James talk. That's next here on 98.5.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5. In this town, sports happens 24/7. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
I want to, join a franchise that kind of shares the same, motto as myself, and that's like practicing championship habits every day, but trusting the process more than anything. I think you trust the process of actually getting to that point.
Realize, that's the term. That's the term. And by the way,
I've been saying to trust the process since I was drafted in like 2003.
Trust the process. Oh, where we heard that before. Oh, wait. Joel Embiid is the process. Philly did try to trust the process, although it didn't go very well. But they're trying to come back the other end of it. Trust the process. Bring LeBron to Philly. That was a comment at, what is it, Fanatics Fan Fest?
Yeah, Fan Fest.
Which, side topic, has become one of the biggest events in the world that I don't truly understand some of it. But the money that's going through there, everybody who's involved with anything is at this. You have Did you see the numbers the other day of like, you want a photo with Rob Gronkowski? It was like $409.
It's ridiculous.
And he was on the lower end. There were a lot of people that were much higher fees to get photos and things of that nature. That Rubin guy, he is creating quite a nice little monopoly for himself in the world of sports.
They got the little fan advisory board now with all the fans that contributing and building up this community. He's doing big stuff.
You know the one thing they can't do? Produce quality apparel anymore. They've lost their way of the original business that made them all the money. Now it's baseball cards and gambling and Fan Fest and Tom Brady, flag football, but you order a jersey and the name's wrong on the back or the numbers are too far apart.
They're crooked.
Like they've lost their way. Anyway, so that was LeBron James. Do you think LeBron is going to go to Philly? Do you think he was just screwing with them for tension?
Yeah, I don't know if he knows 100% where he wants to go yet.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard, Adam Silver would like him to make a damn decision because he's holding up the TV schedule for the entire league, including marquee days like Christmas when they want to know.
The LeBron farewell tour. That's what this.
Yeah, but he also says it might not be the farewell tour, that he's going to squeeze every ounce he can out of this body.
I think it's going to be the farewell tour.
I would if I were him. I mean, it can't get any better than playing with Jaylen Brown and winning a title.
Yeah, I just that could be great for him.
I would love that. I'm going to be torn. This is where I'm not a big LeBron fan. Kind of hate LeBron. So how do I root for Jaylen Brown and against LeBron if they're on the same team?
Trust in the process.
It was like the Super Bowl with Gronk and Brady. I was rooting against Brady but for Gronk, and I'm like, well, every time Brady throws it to Gronk, it's Brady. Can't have one without the other. It makes a lot of sense. As Shams said, he stumbled when he said it. They're a title situation or something.
I think because it was from we didn't say this, it was from the Pat McAfee show, those clips, and the guy who asked him the question was like championship or bust. I think Shams was trying to be the good reporter and not go down the bust.
Okay.
I think which is why he stuttered.
Okay.
Just for context.
Yeah, okay.
I think is why he
did
that.
But they're a contender, correct? To win a title
definitely.
This year. Without
LeBron. But if they get him, absolutely they're a contender.
So the other aspect, and we're going to get to your phone calls in 1 second, 617-779-0985, that I've heard people bring up is seems like JB goes from one relationship that'll be under the spotlight to another. Everybody wants to talk about Embiid and JB. Embiid and, a disappointing career, and he doesn't work maybe, and different things, and JB's going to swoop right in and try to get him in line. Well, what are our thoughts on that relationship early on?
Well, it has been good to start because they still haven't talked.
Yeah, but talking's overrated.
Yeah, it's overrated.
What are you, my wife? I don't have to talk.
Well, I think Jaylen Brown would have appreciated being talked to before Game 7 to tell if Tatum wasn't playing.
Yeah, that would have been good communication.
Been
That
nice.
is
Communication
would have been key there. But
maybe Jaylen Brown will still be a Boston Celtic if that communication.
Touche. But that's a different world. I actually have this dream scenario just for me because I think it would help JB's reputation. If he goes in there and it just works, whatever he does works. And as a JB fan, watch that work. They succeed. Even if they don't win the title, they make like a nice deep playoff run.
Yeah, sure.
Embiid has a great year. And then if it blows up after that, whatever. Because I do think you have to give Jaylen Brown previously some credit for making it work, right? Like subjugating his ego at times with Tatum and the Celtics and getting in where he fits in. And if he does that again, I think that's good for his sort of reputation.
Yeah, it certainly does. And I think with Jaylen Brown, the thing that he needs to hang his hat on is that he always has a chip on his shoulder. And players and organizations, they don't respect him, don't like him, whatever the case may be. That should be his calling card.
Yep.
Like if I was in Jaylen Brown's camp, I'd be telling him, your calling card is that people don't respect you, people look down on you, and you continuously prove them wrong and wrong and wrong again. That's what needs to be your model. And I think for the most part it kind of is.
Mm-hmm.
But he should have every motivation in the world this year. This is like give it a relationship. You have, relationship's not going well, and you guys feel like you start making some progress and everything starts going a little bit better, and all of a sudden you still get dumped.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, I did everything I could.
Yep.
I thought she was happy. I thought it was going to be good, and then she still dumped me.
Yep.
That doesn't make you feel good. But you can do something to improve yourself, improve your team.
Get to the gym, work out, get in shape,
make
do whatever.
A better
hit
basketball
the scene.
player, and all of a sudden you might come out on top at the end of it.
All right, so we're talking about LeBron James maybe going to join JB in Philly. 617-779-0985. Paulie in the truck has another idea. What's up, Paulie?
I want LeBron. Why not? They already picked up all the veterans. Get a third. Three's a lucky charm. Go get LeBron. I'm all in. The fans would love it. That would be great. And I would like to hear a little Macho Man out of Mr. Silver, please. I would love to hear a rendition of the Macho Man from Silver. He is famous for it. Have a nice day, guys.
Thanks, Paulie. George, you want to tell him?
Yeah, we'll have to wait for the next time Sean Silver's on there, Paulie. We appreciate the call.
Paulie, appreciate you listening, but part of listening is actually
When the
listening.
weren't listening.
Yeah. Sean Silver apparently does a good Macho Man impression. I look forward to it because I'm a Macho Man fan. Mega Powers back in the day. Loved it. Was actually watching a documentary the other day with Miss Elizabeth and the whole thing. I forgot what it was on Vice or one of those channels. It was good stuff. Do we want LeBron James on the Boston Celtics? Because I can answer quickly. No. Your turn.
I wouldn't take LeBron at this point in his career. Just given what is like, you're going to welcome in all the, clutch points, that whole world into the organization. I don't think the Celtics need that right now. I also think, did you see what Brian Windhorst said today or yesterday maybe about LeBron James coming to Boston?
No.
He said it was like the last place. He hates Boston.
Yeah, and that's fine because I hate him. But also, the only good thing about LeBron coming would tell me if you take him at his word, and he's like he wants to go to a contender. It's not about the like that would make me feel better about the Celtics if he perceived the Celtics to be a championship caliber basketball team, which I personally do not perceive the Celtics right now to be a championship caliber basketball team. If LeBron came here, okay, maybe they look because obviously you got Tatum and he can have fun with LeBron for a year, and certainly their veteran experience goes through the roof with LeBron and Paul George and Mitchell. Like that, they would have a lot. Although, wait a minute. If you bring in all these veterans, how does poor Ugo play? Where's his playing time going to come from? Because he's the next big thing, I've been told.
So LeBron James, he wants to win a title. That's been well reported. That the most important thing to him is winning. That's what he wants to do. So that's what I was going off of. Yeah. Where do the Celtics rank as a championship contender in the league? Like if you had like definitive contender and then maybe contender and second round team, what of those three categories do the Celtics fall in?
The third one, whatever your third one was called.
Second round team.
Yeah, they're not a real
second
contender.
round playoff team, right?
They're a contender if like a bunch of other stars and teams have injuries and issues and fall apart. Maybe I could talk I think they're like 5th or 6th in the East. Never mind the West.
They're above a play-in team for sure.
Yeah.
They're definitely above that. I think they could get home court in the first round, so that's a 4 seed. I think past that point...
You sure about that?
I think you could be a top 4 team in the East. They could
We'll
be. If everything goes well, they could be a top 4 team in the East.
In the East, though, there's also a West.
I'm not talking about the West.
A lot of good teams out in the West, too, right?
Again, I said they were a second-round team, which means they get to the second round and maybe in a tightly contested series, they get to the conference finals.
Are they better than they were last year? There's also something that's making the rounds because if you swap out Tatum for Brown, you have one star from that, boom, he's supposed to be a better player, and then you added a couple vets. Are they a better basketball team heading into this season than they were a year ago?
I don't think so. Because the whole thing that was helping you last season was the Celtics still had Jaylen Brown, so fans were confident in his ability.
Damn right,
and
I was.
It was going to be, Tatum's coming back, so it's going to be the gang's getting all together. White's still here. Pritchard's going to be a better player, and the Celtics are going to just run through the Eastern Conference and get back to the finals. And for the most part, Andy, that was true. They should have finished a lot better. They should have gotten to the finals last year, or at least the conference finals.
And you
the
know
fact
why they
that
didn't?
they blew a 3-1 lead in the first round, that was disgusting. That was gross.
They might have gone deeper in the playoffs if, I don't
Embarrassing.
know, Jason Tatum had played Game 7 with the
It should have never got to that point.
season on the line.
They should have ended it in 5 games.
That is true as well.
And then they could have got all that rest. Because, by the way, the Knicks were on the verge of losing that series to Atlanta in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember talking to Skazbos in the Green Teamers podcast. We talked about, the Celtics are going to finish the Sixers. They're going to win this in 5 games. And then they're going to watch the Knicks series play out. And they're going to have rest. And it was going to be great. It was going to be the perfect scenario for the Celtics. And then the complete opposite happened. The unthinkable happened, that they blew a 3-1 series lead. That's terrible. That's embarrassing.
617-779-7937. Speaking of embarrassing, Tom Brady. Tom Brady is going to it looks like he's going down the road of something. And you might have seen this on the internet. We got to talk about it next. Tom Brady just can't say no to post-playing career opportunities when really Tom Brady should say no. 617-779-9085. Almost made it through the show. Andy Hart, Jake Seymour on a Saturday afternoon.
Boston's home for sports. When it comes to Boston sports, we're fans just like you. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Colley and Tompkins left. Brady throws it to the end zone for Kenbrell. Tompkins leaping. He got it! Touchdown! Patriots! Kenbrell Tompkins!
of Tom Brady because, well, the post-playing career Tom Brady is a different beast. And I think I'm not a big fan of Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, but I think this headline says it. Tom Brady, angling for yet another paycheck, moves toward a WWE match. Yes, at Fanatics Fest, he was on stage with Logan Paul, who he's been jawing with going back months over the whole flag football thing when Logan Paul was like, oh, I played in high school. I could toast and roast and blah, 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 all these things. And Brady's like, nobody cares, blah, blah, blah. I think this is clearly building because Tom Brady slapped Logan Paul, almost like one of those weigh-ins where they need a little more attention on a fight on like a, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it gets everybody talking. Maybe I will watch that fight. You see the weigh-in? He hit him. Tom Brady slapped Logan Paul. They've gone back and forth a little bit on social media. And yes, as Florio notes, I kind of liked his paragraph. Get ready. The Fox analyst, Raiders limited partner, Birmingham City minority owner, apparel mogul, electric race boat owner, Delta Airlines strategic advisor, flag football player, and pitchman who'll never say no to anyone who'll meet his price tag is going to be wrestling too. Do we like this? Do we want to see Tom Brady? And I'm also guessing, because as we all know, Tom Brady does Fox analysis and owns the Raiders. So I'm assuming he's busy for the next 6 months or so. So I'm guessing they're going to build this up to WrestleMania, the granddaddy of them all, 2 nights next April. This is going to be a long burn build-up to a match between Logan Paul and Tom Brady at WrestleMania next April. Do we want to see this?
I have no interest in this at all.
But you'll watch it.
No.
I will.
I won't watch WrestleMania. So I thought when I was I'm sorry. Like, I don't mean that as like any offense to anyone who likes wrestling.
Jimmy Stewart is coming through the door as we speak to whoop your ass.
But this is also me. Like I don't do a lot of TV or movies. I can't do the fiction, fantasy. I like the hard facts, the nonfiction. This is what happened. These are the consequences, and move on with it. It's like wrestling for me doesn't do that. And I know there's a story, but it's scripted. Like basketball's not scripted. The NFL's not scripted. It's not.
The Celtics scripted their basketball season. That's why they sat Tatum so they could trade Brown. Anyway, I would like to take your side of the street and say I won't watch it, but I know myself. I'm a sucker. I thought Mike Tyson had a chance against Jake Paul. I get talked into it. I get caught up in the hype. And
Hulk Hogan.
I will get caught up in the hype of Brady versus Logan Paul. And I want to see this. Now, George, you told me I'm not going to get to see this. I want to see, because Logan Paul is an athlete. Logan Paul is a much better wrestler than I think people want to give him credit for. He's impressive. I want to see him kick Tom Brady's ass. I want Tom Brady to get slammed through tables, thrown off ropes, like everything and anything I would love to see done to Tom Brady. But I don't think Tom Brady's going to get his ass kicked. Tom Brady's going to win. If Tom Brady wrestles the greatest winner of all time, you're telling me he's going to lose to Logan Paul at WrestleMania? I find that hard to believe.
Not a chance he would allow that to happen. He's coming out in Fanatics with the Undertaker entrance as well. Tom Brady out the casket. That's what he's doing.
God.
I'm so mad about all this. It's just stupid.
Does this tarnish Tom Brady? Does this diminish his overall legacy, aura, whatever?
I don't think so, because like somebody like me, I'm just gonna say, well, yeah, but look at what he did on the field, and he was unstoppable, and he was a great player, great quarterback. But you know what I will say? It's just sad to see him. He's like spiraling in this midlife crisis with everything that's going on.
He is,
and we talked about it, in between segments. The thing with Brady is he had the family, he had a wife, 2 kids, and I know he has a third one too with another Bridget Monahan, right? Who's the other mother of his oldest son. So like he had families, and it didn't work out, and a lot of it because of maybe football. And I just feel like every time you look at him, you're like, oh man, like you almost feel bad, because if this was your buddy, you'd be trying to help him out, and hey, why don't we go out tonight? Let's do something. And it just feels like this isn't the Tom Brady I grew up knowing and watching.
He's unfulfilled. I firmly believe.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
He's unfulfilled, because this is a guy I remember at a Super Bowl. Remember when he cried talking about how his dad was his hero or whatever?
Yes, I remember that.
Look at what his dad was. His dad was a family man. His dad had Tom and the sisters.
That's a great point, yeah.
He looked at that as the epitome of what a man is. And he's living the exact opposite life.
And he was that too, I think.
He was that.
For a
he
while.
was well on track to be that. And he could have done that. He could have been a very simple Tom Brady, father, probably still could have gotten in with the Raiders, could have bought a portion of a team, right? And been just a sort of behind the scenes. I want to be involved, but that's it. But no, he's, as Florio says, he's everywhere and everything. He'll say yes to anyone. The Noble Corporation that's now worth $1 billion that he's behind and merged with TB12. And how much is enough? Like, what are you looking for? And I know people be like, yeah, you see, he was with Sidney Sweeney, Sofia Vergara. So, like, yes, he has quite an impressive list of post-playing career conquests or whatever you want to call it. Does it seem like he's happy with it? Any of them been more than like a weekend? Any of them?
No.
I feel like he's been who is the young one? Alex Earl?
Oh, yes. New Year's, right?
Yeah. Like, all these relationships are like barely one-night stands, one weekend. They were canoodling at a wedding somewhere. Did he even reach, like, 2 weeks with any of them?
Yeah,
no.
from what we've seen, it's been very limited in the public eye.
Another one through him. So, I don't know what he's doing. Maybe, I guess if you want to sell me, he's leading the ultimate bachelor, coolest man in the world, globe set, whatever. I think he's unfulfilled.
He lost his anchor, is what he lost. And I don't know what that was. And we started to see, I think,
Football.
cracks of this. Football. But even when he left New England, so this is where I was going with it. When he left New England and went to Tampa, we started seeing more personality and more of the human of Tom Brady. I was like, oh, wait. This guy isn't like a robot. He was very competitive, wanted to win. But we started seeing less and less of the robot Tom Brady. And I wonder, when we talk about the debate of who was better, Tom Brady or Bill Belichick, and who was more responsible for winning, they both really need each other, and I think these might be examples of Bill might have really kept him grounded. And kept him like in the moment and not looking so far. And obviously Brady's had a lot of personal stuff happen since he's left football. And I think really that first retirement and then coming back, that might have, hurt that a lot. But I just go back to that and I say there were signs that this was deteriorating about like who he was in the path he was going down. There were signs of all this.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people turn a blind eye to it.
Well, he's also, is it safe to say he's a star bleeper? Like, he gets off on being in the world of stars. Like, you don't see, how some people get super rich and they kind of bring along their posse, their entourage, their kids they grew up with. He's the opposite. Every time I see him, he's with Floyd Mayweather or Messi or like, actress, actor, rich dude, success. Like, I don't see him ever hanging out with just his boys that he grew up with in San Mateo.
Who does that kind of behavior remind you of? Like, what kind of person of like age-wise? Someone who's like young. Young 20-year-old kid.
Yeah.
When he get all his money and become very successful, he was young.
Yeah.
And I think often when people get a lot of money and find success, they often become that person for the rest of their life. In terms of they're like almost, I don't want to say never mature, but they always kind of resort back to that as their root. Like, look at LeBron James, right? LeBron James talked about playing Madden and being around the PlayStation and getting really good at that. That was something that was talked about during COVID, something that he was doing. Well, does a 40-year-old man talk about playing Madden usually? No. But you know what was big when he was growing up? When he was 18? Madden. So I think like
they never grow up. Peter Pan syndrome.
Yeah, I just think a lot of it, when you get a lot of money and you
deep
become
over there.
Successful,
you're kind of like psychoanalyzing here or
well,
something.
So
Tom Brady's laying on your couch.
When I think of these stories, I think of like the feature story angle. Like, if someone were to write this, what would be the angle you take? I think. So
Tom
like,
Brady
you
just
bring up
never
the dad,
grows up.
You bring up his dad and like how it's gone down. That would be a great feature story.
Well, that is the fascinating, the juxtaposition of who he is and who he idolized, and they couldn't be any more different. His dad was multiple kids, practices, family life, wife who adores him, like this tight-knit, I think, church, like that, like real community.
Absolutely.
And Brady is the opposite with his family, sort of, but no wife, no tight-knit, businesses, everything is work and money, and yeah, it's very interesting.
Those are stories I love to read. Like, that's the Wright Thompson story, I always say.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be a good Wright Thompson story.
Why don't you write this story about Tom Brady?
I will.
617-779-0985. Let's go to the phone lines. Steve in Swansea has a thought on this Tom Brady situation. What's up, Steve?
Yeah, I totally agree. I tell my friends about this all the time. Some people agree, some disagree, but Tom Brady, greatest of all time quarterback. Glad I have him. Fortunate, love it, as a quarterback. But as a person, disingenuous, fits right in with the WWE. He's scripted and fake. First he's telling the TB12 method. Now he's slinging potato chips. I don't believe a thing he says. So WWE, welcome to it. I'll probably watch it too. But I'm not the biggest personal Tom Brady fan.
Thanks for the call, Steve. Yeah, there is a little fake or fraudulency with Tom Brady, the evolution of, and a lot of people said that, like, oh, wait, you preached TB12, you called Coca-Cola and Frosted Flakes poison, and now you're pitching, like, pizza?
Yeah, Domino's.
Like,
It's not like it's like keto-friendly pizza. No, it's
right,
Domino's.
No, just like hardcore cheap pizza.
Like, this is the substitute for the TB12 pizza.
Yeah.
No, Domino's.
Because he's getting paid, and he's just saying yes, yes, yes. We are a week away, 1 week away from Patriots training camp. Next Friday, the Veterans Report. Practices start on Saturday. We'll be down there for 98.5 The Sports Hub. Full coverage, shows from the ramps over practice. What are the storylines going to be for training camp? Christian Gonzalez. Is he going to be a very, very rich man, happy man, an active man when training camp gets underway? Let's talk a little Patriots up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Andy Hart, Jake Seymour with headlines.
From the John Fair Tire Studios, Dutcher and Hart, Owen Beetle, Felger and Maz, the Bruins, the Celtics, the Pats, the Revolution. This is Boston's home for sports. WBC FM at HD Boston, 98.5 The Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
After sweeping the Rays in the doubleheader yesterday, the Red Sox are officially back to 500, and they'll play the Rays again this afternoon with Patrick Sandoval on the bump for the Sox, and the Rays counter with Ian Seymour. First pitch was scheduled for 4 o'clock, but weather has delayed it. There's no current update for first pitch. Fenway weather update due to the current forecast. Today's first pitch has been delayed, and the Red Sox will share a new start time as soon as possible. Third day of the British Open has concluded, and Sam Burns holds a 2-stroke lead for first place. Ryan Fox has jumped 50 spots on the leaderboard to be tied with Siwoo Kim for second place. And some scores around Major League Baseball. Twins are trailing the Cubs 5-1. Phillies up 2-1 over the Mets. And the White Sox Blue Jays, they just started. They're tied at 0. Sports of Headlines are brought to you by Boston Vision. Boston Vision helped baseball legend David Ortiz get back to seeing 20/20 again, and they can do the same for you. See you like Big Papi. Book your evaluation today at bostonvision.com. I'm Jake Seymour for Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Listen to it, laugh at it, get mad at it, agree with it, argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5 The Sports Hub. The Bruins, the Celtics, the Patriots, the Sox, the Revs, and you. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
In the rankings, Christian Gonzalez was third at cornerback, which will be music to the ears of his agents. One part on that, one knock on Gonzalez. Some scouts and coaches believe he's not physical enough. I would say you could include some people with the Patriots also thinking that. Quote, his game is a bit finesse at times, an NFL personnel evaluator said, but he's got tons of traits, long, can run, cover. The idea of the position is to cover the guy, and he can do that very well. You know, related to that, I will, there was a question from Flanagan 3 related to Gonzalez, so we might as well do it now. Why wouldn't the team front load a contract for Gonzo before Drake comes knocking? I mean, with that heavy hitter first year paid for, if they decided they really had to move him, his trade value would be even greater. Looks like an opportunity missed. He said, what am I missing? I would say the Patriots have already exceeded what I figured that they would pay. They've spent $320 million in cash on this year's team as of today. You're talking about front loading a Gonzalez contract, so I would imagine that means a big signing bonus. And when we're talking upper echelon of cornerbacks, we're talking upwards more than $50 million.
Greg Bedard talking about the, I'm always hesitant to use the word, but contract situation with Christian Gonzalez. Have we reached, Jake Seymour, the point where 1 week from the start of training camp, is this becoming a situation in your mind? Because I think we all thought it might get done. Vrabel talked him up, Elliott Wolf. You know, it's just sort of natural progression. You're coming off a Super Bowl, goodwill tour, pay the man, and it hasn't happened yet.
So I don't think it's becoming. I think it already is a situation.
Situation.
hold in, hold out, whatever you want to call it.
Hold in. He'll be there.
He'll be there.
He'll be
Maybe
there off to the side.
Off to the side.
Doing some
stretching,
stuff.
Running maybe a little bit.
Yeah. Sitting on a
jogging.
bag.
Maybe the helmet will be on with no shoulder pads.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's already a situation. Because players, and rightfully so, don't want to risk their body. Because all it takes is one play, blow out a knee, blow an Achilles, whatever the case may be, and your career is done. You never get the payday that you deserved, and Christian Gonzalez is not going to risk that.
Yep.
So I have no problem with him doing this. I really don't, because you got to protect yourself, protect your assets. I have a problem with the Patriots just not paying already. Why have you not paid him? Like, can you tell me, Andy, a reason why, but besides being not wanting to spend the money, why the Patriots would not spend the money and extend Christian Gonzalez right now?
No.
There's no reason.
It'd be a short segment if that's all I got. No. I have no idea why they wouldn't pay him. And I also don't know why you wouldn't pay him when your head coach has sort of talked up the idea of paying him. And you know how he even talked about, because we can see the talent on the field that now ranks him as a top 5, 3, 2 corner, whatever you want to put him. But Vrabel emphasized, I asked him to be more of a leader, and he did that. He matured over you're fluffing the guy up nonstop. That makes people believe, oh, you're going to pay him. He's doing everything you've asked of him. He makes plays on the field. He's become a bigger leader off the field. And I'll tell you when I think this became a situation, Jake Seymour. I have a very specific date. Anybody can see this date. You know why? Because it happened like so many things in this world on social media.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Yes, I do. On July the 10th, 2026. So that was 8 days ago. Christian Gonzalez added somebody. And that somebody may be the voice you just heard, Greg Bedard. At Greg A. Bedard on Twitter, he said, got some new to say about me every day, LOL. That was Christian Gonzalez responding to the audio you just heard of basically Bedard saying there's some in the Patriots building that think Christian Gonzalez is soft. When I saw that was the first time I became concerned. And this is my theory, and let me know if you buy into this theory, Jake Seymour. If he knew this deal was done, if he knew the contract was essentially signed, sealed, and delivered, the direct deposit of the first $50 million installment would be arriving on August 3rd, and we're going to announce this the next Saturday, and you'll meet the media. If he knew all this was in place, does he get in this weird, sensey social media thing with Greg Bedard? I'd say no. But if you're worried that the deal hasn't been done, and you're worried why the deal isn't done, you might be upset about some negative things being said by a guy like Greg Bedard in the media that could adversely, in your mind, affect your ability to get said $100 million contract. So the sensitivity to what Greg Bedard said to me is a sign that Christian Gonzalez is concerned the deal's not yet done.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because someone like Greg is well-sourced. You know he's talking
Sure.
to people. He has connections.
Yep.
And you would be sensitive to that. Of course you would be. So I think that's a great point. Where I was actually thought you were going with this is, I'll give you an example where I thought it really picked up. March 25th, 2026.
Oh,
Causeway Street at the Garden. Celtics playing the Thunder. Christian Gonzalez was sitting courtside. The camera pans to him on the Jumbotron. And what does he do? He puts his hand up and does the money side. Rubs his fingers and thumbs together.
Yeah.
Pay me. That's what he said. So when a player goes public like that for their contract, and it's to your point, he did the same thing on Twitter, but this is in a different setting.
Yeah.
That's when the situation becomes vital to be resolved as fast as possible, because now emotions are getting in the way and people are upset. Christian Gonzalez, this has been an issue all offseason. They've had months to figure this out. They've chosen not to for a reason that neither you or I, or I think anyone else, can understand and tell to people. So when Elliot Wolf, he'll talk at the beginning of training camp.
Yeah,
right?
probably.
He usually does.
Yep.
So I hope he's asked about that, because I'm curious why the money's not there. Do the Patriots waiting for a check to clear? Are they waiting for like a business opportunity to be done? Like, what? I don't understand why Christian Gonzalez is not signed to an extension.
So I'll give you some theories, some working theories. There's general ones that NFL owners like to keep their money in their accounts longer, especially when it's going to be a quarterback, a cornerback, a pass rusher. Because as Greg said, that could be a $50 million signing bonus. I don't know what the interest is on $50 million, but I think it's good. You make yourself some money if it stays in your account an extra week, an extra month, whatever it is, if you're Robert Kraft. So there's that theory, that they just want to make a little money for themselves before they hand over that money to Christian Gonzalez. There's another theory that, sort of a two-legged theory, that their eyes are on Devin Witherspoon, the cornerback drafted in the same draft class, much higher in the draft, of the Seahawks, coming off the Super Bowl. Christian Gonzalez, draft mate, he's waiting for a contract from the Seahawks. So first there was the theory just That sets the market. You go in order. He signs his, then you sign yours. And it would also help average out some of the comps because Trent McDuffie was a comp, just got a huge deal, but he's a year advanced. He's a year older. If you get the Witherspoon contract, you get a very apples-to-apples comp. The new latest wrinkle is that the sale of the Seahawks from Paul Allen's wife, estate, whatever it is, to this new buyer could slow down the Witherspoon contract, which by extension could slow down the Gonzalez contract because they're waiting to use that as a comp. I don't know if you buy any of these, but these are some theories that are thrown out.
So if you're using that as a comp, then who benefits from that?
I think...
Well, who benefits more?
I think both sides benefit because I do think it's unfair to use Trent McDuffie as a comp. Wait an extra year. Christian, if you want that contract, wait an extra year like he did. He waited an extra year. Yeah. They actually traded him because they didn't want to pay him in Kansas City. They trade him to L.A., gets the contract. So it's easier for both sides to have a very genuine comp if it's a guy in my draft class who just signed. And by the way, I'm better than him. Now, that's where you get in the gray area because I actually think they believe, the Patriots, this is total speculation, unsourced speculation. I want to make that clear. I think they believe some of the guaranteed money for Witherspoon is going to actually be less than McDuffie, and that'll benefit them. So they can give more than Witherspoon because it's next in line, but less than McDuffie and save themselves some guaranteed money.
But we're talking a couple million, a few million? It can't be that much.
Maybe tens of
millions? Okay.
But not huge money.
Yeah.
The deal is still going to be $100+ million total value. And even if he gets low end, does he get 90 million guaranteed instead of 112 or something?
And like poor person or average person talk. This is like when you go to the car dealership, like, we'll take $500 off for you.
Right.
It's that same principle.
Woo!
And does that maybe that makes you do the
500 a month?
quicker.
No. I need 500 total. So
That's
when you
it.
divide that over your poor 72 payments,
Exactly.
you really didn't save
it's
that
about
much.
a nickel each.
Yes. But it's and this is going to be because as we look ahead to training camp, there aren't a ton of stories. Other than the obvious, the Mike Vrabel story, which I don't know if that's still a story or not. If we've put that to bed, haven't put it to bed, feels like that kind of ran its course unless there's something that blows it up. Rossini speaks, new photos, new girl, second woman, second shooter, somebody on a hill, whatever. Wouldn't this would be a big story. This would be an NFL level story, not just a Patriots level story.
Definitely. And that's where I just don't understand why the Patriots don't want to get this done and over with. Because they answer the questions. It's
what if
done.
he's asking for $120 million guaranteed?
I mean, I would give it to him at this point. Just sign it with the contract.
Checks willy-nilly.
Yeah, just write it.
All right, me.
Because if you're a fan, you don't want your ownership group to be saying we don't want to pay this player because there's too much money for us. That's not what you want. You want the team to get as much talent as possible. We said it, not to cross sports, but we said it. Talent is what wins championships, about Jaylen Brown and Tatum. So if Christian Gonzalez is a talented corner and you really value him, then shouldn't that just be this easy solutions to pay him? And Mike Vrabel, as you said, is like kind of hyping him up, and that should be increasing his value on the market.
Yep.
So does that mean, is there a disconnect between the front office and Mike Vrabel? That does the front office not think Christian Gonzalez is valuable, and Mike Vrabel is trying to say that no, he is very valuable and we need to pay him, so he's doing it publicly to support the player because we know Vrabel's a player's coach and players like playing for Vrabel? How does that play into this?
All right, we're going to delve deeper into that. Is there a disconnect in Foxborough? And who is that disconnect between? Is it between Gonzalez and the Patriots? Is it between Vrabel and Wolf, the front office and the head coach? Is it between the front office and ownership in terms of writing a massive check? Is there a disconnect as we head a week away into Patriots training camp down in Foxborough? Thoughts on that? 617-779-0985. We also need to get to sort of a smorgasbord of stories. We have about 40 minutes left here. The British Open is happening. Bryson DeChambeau is pissing everybody off. I kind of love it. We'll get to all that and more. Your phone calls next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Andy Hart and Jake Seymour on a Saturday afternoon.
Boston's home for sports. No matter what team, no matter what player, no matter what coach, no matter what game, it all happens here. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
So I was watching it live. I was up in the players' lounge watching it with a few other players, and as soon as he made the step into the ball, we all sort of looked at each other and were like, that didn't seem right. And then when I heard that he was he was called in by the rules officials. I think it was pretty obvious for why. I think there's no doubt that he improved the line of his backswing. So, and again, it's like whether it was careless or whether it was intentional, I don't think it matters. Hopefully it was careless. But I think the 2-shot penalty was justified for sure.
British Open is going on. Well, it was going on as we spoke earlier. I think they're done because, across the pond, time change, all that. We've been into it. That was Rory McIlroy, and there's a bit of a hubbub over there about Bryson DeChambeau. Who would have thunk Bryson DeChambeau in the middle of a bit of controversy? It's funny because coming into the Open, you just call it the Open. You don't have to say they fancy them. So you just say the Open.
Say the Open.
They are the Open.
Like the U.S. Open?
Yeah. It's just the Open. Or in Canada, they don't say the National Hockey League. They just say the National League. You should obviously know it's hockey. It's just hockey. Coming in, I believe it was Nick Faldo, some aged veteran golfer was ripping DeChambeau for not knowing how to play over there, not having a plan, just gripping it and ripping it. You can't do that here. The fairways are only 15 yards wide, but we're just shredding him. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. It's good for golf. He's a lightning rod for both support and criticism. Well, that took a leap even forward yesterday. So he crushes a drive into the infamous rough that you find over there, whatever the hell that's called, the real tall stuff.
It's pretty bad.
Oh yeah, it was so bad. Did you see what he did? I didn't see it live, but I read and then saw
I saw the video.
He took the extra drive because they assumed they weren't going to be able to find his ball. He plays like me.
I didn't catch that part.
Oh yeah, I forgot what they call it. There's something you call it.
We call it like a mulligan, right?
I just call it me golfing. I often, when I go with my son and his friends, the foursome, I like to hit first so that I can also hit again fifth when I need to hit a second ball because the first one is not going to be playable. But he does that. But then they find the ball, and he steps on some of said high grass, which, oh boy, get the officials, get the whole thing. You got to play it where it lies. And that was Rory McIlroy talking about it, that they were watching in the clubhouse, and they knew immediately. You can't do that. Whether it's intentional or accidental, you're not allowed to do that.
He stomped around his ball.
Well, he wanted to clear it for his backswing.
He tried to be kind of secretive about it, but he you can physically see him picking up his feet and hitting the ground with it.
And also, you're Bryson DeChambeau. There's going to be cameras. I'm going to pick somebody down. If you were Jesper Svensson or somebody, Laurie Cantor, these may be famous, but they're at the bottom. Like, maybe you can get away with it. Maybe there's no camera zoomed in on you when you do it.
And Rory talked about that, too. Like, maybe that's unfair to
No, that's quite fair.
But that's how it is.
You make millions because you're famous, so the cameras are going to follow you. You're known, blah, blah, blah.
It's part of being a well-known golfer.
So he has a hissy fit. He has a hissy fit to the point where he threatens not to play today.
Yeah, because you'd be such a big loss. Like, that's what they care about. Like, come on.
You left the tour. People hate you already. They don't care. You're a big hitter. Okay. Anyway, so that was Rory McIlroy talking about it. By the way, Bryson DeChambeau had a 69 today. He is 6 under for the tournament, and he is tied for 6th. So he's 4 strokes back, but he is in striking distance. And if you took away the 2-stroke penalty that he was assessed for basically clearing out his backswing by tamping down the high grass, he would be tied for 2nd right now at -8.
So I'm not an expert on the golf rules.
Oh, I am. Go ahead.
So if the ball's in the rough, what I often see is players will go up and kind of take a swing, like a practice swing.
Yeah.
So couldn't he have just done that and been like, no, I wasn't clearing.
Like a bunch of them?
I was just trying to, I was really just working on it. Like, that's part of my routine. Couldn't he have done that?
With like a weed whacker? I always warm up with a weed whacker before I actually grab the club.
I use the electric.
You've seen weighted bats. They use weighted bats in baseball. I use a weed whacker to warm up before I hit the ball. I just think my big takeaway from this is it's great for golf. It's great for golf. This draw, especially in the social media era or, video clips, Instagram reels, and other things, golf needs this. Golf needs Bryson DeChambeau. They need interest in the game. If they want to be more than just nose in the air, hoity-toity golf people. If you want the casual fans involved, these storylines are great. It's great for Rory McIlroy to now be ripping Bryson DeChambeau at the podium, and now are they feuding? I mean, he obviously went to live, and there's that whole angle that's kind of dying out because the funding is dying out. But isn't this good for – you don't have Tiger anymore drawing the eyeballs in. Scotty Scheffler is your best golfer, and he's kind of vanilla pudding, right?
He's boring.
Kind of boring.
Which is good for him.
Good for him, bad for golf.
Yeah.
So you want Bryson DeChambeau out there. Did you see his other thing?
You need a villain.
He's definitely a good villain. He prints his irons.
He prints his irons?
Yeah. Yeah, like what do you call that? Like
like he like has like something printed on like on
No. The whole iron. What are those called? Those like new age printers where you can print, they print guns.
Like a 3D printer?
Yeah, he 3D prints his irons. 3D prints his irons. I thought that was one of the storylines too.
Oh,
He probably does. He puts a blade on the backside so you can cut through the grass on the backswing and then come down with the iron. Yeah. Put that out there. But no, overall, I just think he's good for golf. I think he brings in young eyeballs with his social media and YouTube content. I also like to watch him golf because he golfs like me. Because, like, the smart thing is to hit it over there. And he's like, no, I can grip it and rip it and hit it over this tree. And he's not going to hit it over the tree. It's going to hit the tree. Then he's going to swear about it or he's going to have a hissy fit. I think he's good for golf, and I think it's fun to watch. But, there was some controversy yesterday because he chose to is that cheating? Yeah, it's cheating.
Yeah, it's cheating. But, like, if
it's not cheating if you or I do it.
No, because I'm a terrible golfer.
Same.
So this is the thing. Like, I've kind of gotten into the world of golfing over the last 2-3 years because I lived in Arizona. This was like golf land. Went to school there. So, and my roommate was a big golfer. So like I was exposed to the sport a lot throughout college. So like I wanted to play when I get home. But the biggest like turn off for golf for me is the snobbiness, pretentious people who play the sport. I'm sorry. I can't stand when people are like, you're shooting a top flight or you're using a Titleist. It's an effing golf ball. Just hit the damn thing. It aggravates me to no end. Like, because I'm coming from a world of playing pickup basketball, pickup, baseball or whatever.
Right.
Or football, where it's just like, you got the ball, who's got the ball, we're playing.
Right.
And that's it.
Right.
There's no...
that's not golf.
I don't want to use a Spalding basketball. Where's my Wilson
Right.
elite basketball? Like, no, that doesn't exist. So that drives me nuts. That's like the worst part about golf. And this kind of whole thing is like a microcosm of that.
Yeah, and it
My ball has a little bit of dirt on it. I need to move it a little bit. No, just hit the golf ball, please.
You know what ball I usually play?
What?
Whichever one I find when I go in the woods looking for the original ball that I was playing.
Oh, I'll walk around and be like, oh,
you playing a Nike? I am now. You playing a Titleist? I am now. Like,
I found a V1 over there.
I consider it a great hole if I finish the hole with my ball.
So that's what I've started doing because I'm not going to have to keep score. So I've started keeping track of how many golf balls I've lost.
Absolutely. That's
and
the first step.
Last time I went, I only lost one, and it was on the back nine.
You're
It's
improving.
Like, I'm getting better.
100%.
This is great.
Or you played a course that was friendly.
No, I played
wide open fairways, no water.
Indian Ridge in Andover.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No, I'm
but
not.
It's a little bit of a harder course. Private club. It was a little bit harder.
Oh, look at you, private clubs.
The last time I played.
Excuse me.
Yeah. But you see, that kind of goes down to it.
Hoity-toity. But I'm with you. I'm with you on all those things.
Yeah.
I think all of those elitists ruin whatever the hobby is. Like, I think the same way, and I know people will get mad at me because you're costing people money. But if I go play blackjack, I put the same amount of money on the table as you did. I can bet. And the guy at the other end of the table who gets mad at me when I do something that I shouldn't have done based on the rules of blackjack.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I also have the right to sit in this seat and put my money and lose my money or do whatever I want. And music, there's a lot of music snobs that like, oh, I need set lists and this and that. No. I just want to go to the concert and enjoy the music.
Just put on your Apple Music.
I don't need to know the lyrics. I don't need to know like any of that. I just want to enjoy said event. And golf is pretty high on that list of.
Yeah. Oh, there's nothing that aggravates me more than that.
And that's part of their problem. That's why they, probably have a limited, business model.
And I think the sport's fun. Like
it is.
It's a nice sport to play.
It can
You're
be frustrating.
outside.
Fun,
it can be frustrating, but like
frustrating.
that's part of it being fun to me. Like the challenge of getting good and hitting the golf ball. Like I enjoy that. Yeah. But you can go talk about the kind of golf ball and the new irons you just bought and how these irons were trash and you don't like them. No, I'm good.
Yeah, I am. I think that's one of and Hardy would probably get mad at me for saying this. Like, one of the great scams is like convincing people they need new irons or new this or new putter. Like, it's you. You're the problem. It's not that $300, $400, $500 piece of metal in your hands that's preventing the ball from going in the hole. It's you.
Yeah, especially like at our level. Like,
Oh, yeah.
We're not professionals.
Oh, if you want to tell me the true elites can get, a 1% better based on the equipment, 100%. But most people at any golf course you go to or I go to aren't good enough, aren't consistent enough, aren't dialed in enough to get that 1% advantage over the new irons.
And the other ones like I don't understand is like wearing your golf shoes not in the parking lot or like getting the golf cart and it needs to be in like a certain way. Like those things I just don't understand. And that's where you lose me. Because again, pickup basketball was, oh, you have a ball? Oh, there's a hoop ball. Let's go play pickup.
Right.
That was it.
Shirts for skins or something.
Yeah,
Keep
exactly.
it very simple, basic.
Very simple.
Yeah, I don't think you're cut out for the golf world based
No,
on
I'm
this
probably not.
conversation. I don't think this is your future. The future of the World Cup will be settled this weekend. My favorite player, well, at least in the last week or so, Messi, looking to take it home once again. We're going to have action later today in Miami, the ever-popular bronze medal game at a different site from the championship game. All right, let's get into a little World Cup because I'm now an expert on World Cup. Jake, you're an expert now?
Yeah, so I just want to throw in one thing, though, before we go to break. Chris Cotillo, Tarp is coming off at Fenway. Red Sox say 5:10 p.m.
5:10 starts, so we'll lead you into Red Sox baseball, actually. Stop listening to us. You can go watch your TV and watch some Red Sox when we're done here. Andy Hart, Jake Seymour on a Saturday afternoon on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Call 617-779-0985. World Cup chatter next.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub. Lobster Lovers Week. Boston sports. Yeah, we got that covered. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
McAllister libre, McAllister Paul otra vez, y va Messi, primero Spence, Maca, Messi engancha y va, tiró con la derecha. ¡Golazo argentino! Asistencia de Leo con la derecha. Por aquí no.
From the Coors commercials right now. He orders a Coors in the commercials for that.
He does a great job on the call.
Yeah, and he that's tremendous. Although I will say, like, the third or whatever, he kind of it broke a little, it crackled a little.
I actually cut out about half dozen of those goals just to get it into timing constraints here. But yes.
But yeah, the World Cup, the bronze medal game today. We're $2 million. I did a little research, because I am soccer expert. I got to know all these things now. The bronze medal game down in Miami. For $2 million, winner team gets $29 million. The losing team, not $2 million per player, $2 million per team, gets only $27 million. Because I think that is a strange event, a strange event.
And I thought it was just for bragging rights, right?
Yeah, but it's like in a different city. You're not even in the same. It's not like a traditional the Olympics, for example. We're all in one ice arena.
Final four.
We lost. Yeah, whatever. We got to play like. No, I'm in Miami, and the teams that won are up in New Jersey. They're going to play at MetLife.
So that's a good point. What George brings up, Final Four. Would we have seen the two Final Four losers play each other?
No,
it doesn't happen.
But I feel like this is a precedent to do that. And the TV network's like, wait, we can get another game out of this. We can put this on primetime television.
I'm so out on that.
Sell commercials.
Third place game.
Yeah, I as a player, and I know Golden Boot is up for grabs and all-time career. Like, you can build some of your statistics and legacy.
Stat padding now?
Yeah, a little
World
bit.
Cup? Come on.
And I think France is actually looking to move into second place all-time with the most third-place wins in the World
What
Club.
a grade A loser
Right.
country stat.
Talk about an
Oh
SID
my
stat.
SID stat. That's a good one.
Totally. Like in our game notes here.
On the fourth Tuesday of the month.
Right. But then, obviously, we'll have the final tomorrow, which will be... Did I read right? Do like 1 billion people watch the World Cup final around the globe?
I think that sounds right, yeah.
That's unbelievable. Like, we are so... We think the Super Bowl is big. And somewhere between 5 and 10 times as many people will watch the World Cup final because it is obviously a global championship, a global game.
Yeah, ESPN estimated 1.5 billion people.
That is so that's like 1 out of every 9 people in the world, something like that?
Yeah, that's good math.
Good Lord. That is popular. I can see why. That's why I've gotten so enthralled with the game in recent weeks and become such a fan. Mbappe, he's my guy. I got a list of guys. Mbappe, Bellingham, Messi. I've really grown to like stars of other teams. It's weird. Our stars, not so much. Our stars didn't really show up. They kind of tapped out. Don't seem very likable.
Oh, it was very likable for a while, and then they just choked it.
Yeah, when it got to be like time to matter.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
the preliminaries.
Could have won the on their home field.
Yeah, they even have it rigged for him. They rigged it. The guy wasn't supposed to play, and the president made a call, and he played. How frustrating is that? Even when they rig it for us, we couldn't advance. But, George, you're a big soccer fan. Is this going to matter? That's the big question in the U.S. is always like, can they capitalize on the momentum from the World Cup into the MLS and soccer in general?
That's the operative question, because after 1994, we were expecting kind of this big boom, and kind of MLS just it was a little different. I think that the local league leaves a lot to be desired. Obviously, like the Apple TV product is that's not the way to go. So I would expect them to, when the negotiating rights for the rights come up for the TV rights, that they're going to do something to kind of help and aid that. But as far as development of players in the league, for the USMNT going forward in the future, I think we should be able to build the studs internally. We have height, so we should be able to get center backs and decent goalie. I mean, that third goal from Belgium left a lot to be desired. I don't want to see Matt Freese ever again in the international team. Same thing with Tim Ream. I thought he was a has-been already to be kind of the makeshift captain of this team.
Yeah.
But I think Belgium picked, it was a tale of two storms here. Belgium picked the time to play their best game of the tournament. I thought that they were very susceptible to be beat. And then the United States, who played a lovely game against Paraguay, got us believing through the group stage, but then picked the wrong time to play their worst game. They didn't show up, obviously, and then that was the byproduct. It was just an uncompetitive game. Didn't think that we were, we scored on the free kick from Tillman, but then 2 minutes later they had gotten the extra goal. So then we were chasing our tails the whole game. So it was very uncompetitive. We were outclassed, dominated. So it leaves a lot to be desired, and I am curious, within the next 4 years, will we be able to turn around, be competitive? We'll see if Pochettino gets to be read up here, if he's going to extend with us. I think his style has made a difference. And then, little Gold Cups and Copa America coming up in the next year or two as well. So we'll be paying attention to the international. Me as a casual, that's what I'll pay attention to, is the international tournaments. But as far as picking a club team or praying that the Revolution or MLS kind of takes off, I think a lot will still be left to be desired there, and that those growing pains will still linger beyond 4 years from now. If we can build off this little by little, then maybe for the next generation, we would hope that someday we can see the United States, the USMNT, compete the way that the women do.
Yeah, I think one thing this does actually hurts the MLS, because people like me see what real soccer talent is. I say, and I know Messi is here, and there's this great debate of why he's here, what he would be, where if he was elsewhere, still in Europe, blah blah blah. But I watch these guys, and I'm like, wow, that is impressive. The speed with which they get shots off, the little space they need, like some of the things they do, the physicality of these games. Like, there was a lot to enjoy, even if you're not a soccer fan. So I think they can't capitalize on that. I have this little theory that I don't know why it hasn't been talked about more. So we always talk about the NFL, which wants to be global and plays games in Europe. There's always this, could there be a team in London? Why can't we get like a Premier League team in New York so we see elite soccer on a regular basis? Put one of their teams over here so we are more familiar with elite soccer, and that might help grow the game here.
Well, what's the benefit of that for the Premier League?
Money.
I don't know if there is money, though, for that.
There's got to be money in New York or all of the U.S. Like, basically, if you make one team from the Premier League the Premier League team for the U.S., think of all those jerseys and the funding and the marketing opportunities and the streaming and the different TV if you make that a more Americanized sport. I just think I've always found it weird that that's never talked of. In my world, it's the NFL putting a team in London. Why about they put one of their teams over here?
I definitely understand your point, and I don't think it would be a terrible idea for the Premier League. I just don't know. I don't think we as Americans are ready to buy into soccer, especially in these parts of the country, like the Northeast, the hockey kind of cities in this country, because I'd rather watch hockey than watch soccer. Right. I really would.
Right.
So, and I'm also, by the way, I've been scrolling through MLS's social media feeds. There's like some World Cup stuff, but where was MLS in all this the last month? And I also feel like that kind of goes back to, is the MLS being run appropriately? Because this game should be bigger in the United States. It probably should be. And it's been, over 30 years now since the MLS has been a thing. And the World Cup's finally back. And has there been enough growth to warrant legitimacy of this sport in the country? I mean, right. I guess you can say America went to the round of 16 this year, and that was a big achievement. But the MLS is not getting these massive TV deals. They're not, in comparison to the other leagues. And I know they just got the Apple thing, but that was stupid. Going digital only and streaming only and taking that off cable, that was stupid.
I agree.
So sometimes I look at that and say, is the MLS being run appropriately? Are the people in charge, do they understand what it takes to grow the sport?
Because I'm never going to seek out a Miami, whatever the name of the team is with Messi.
We don't know what the team
Right.
is. I think it's Miami Inter FC.
Okay.
George?
But if they were on
I got it backwards.
ESPN and I was scrolling through, there's a chance I stop. There's a
Definitely.
chance I see Messi. There's a chance I get caught up in it and I start watching it. But I'm never going to seek it out or subscribe or do something to go find it. And then my last point on this, George, would be I think the thing that keeps us back from the most elite levels is all these guys in the U.S. play soccer early in their careers. And then they go play something else. They fall in love with basketball. They fall in love with football. I've heard so many NFL wide receivers that talk about playing soccer as a kid and it helped them with their footwork and all this. And then they play football. Like if Justin Jefferson, let's just pick a name, Jamar Chase, if they were playing soccer their whole lives, they might be elevating our men's national team. Like they might be World Cup and Tyreek Hill, whoever the guys are. Some of these elite athlete, LeBron James, big, fast, athletic. You're telling me if he focused on soccer instead of basketball his entirety of his life, he might not have been a world-class soccer player? I think that's the problem is we have too many guys that are, pursuing other sports that are far more popular.
I just think that if you put a football, baseball, basketball, soccer ball, and a hockey puck and stick in front of a kid and you said, pick one of these to play with, the soccer ball will be picked every time.
Ooh, that's a scientific experiment. You could actually do that. You get a bunch of babies, kids, whatever age groups you want, use different age groups, and you put the various things in front of them and see what they go for, see what they play with, see what they do a second day if they play with it on the first day.
Yeah.
You should go into like child development or research or something.
Maybe a second.
That'd be kind of fun. All right, we're coming down the home stretch here on 98.5, the Sports Hub. We see your phone calls. Maybe we'll squeeze a couple of those in, 617-779-0985. And we're going to recap what was a fun show and a sneaky fun sports weekend here in the non-global sports part of the world because the Tour de France, the Open, and the World Cup is happening, but we don't care about any of that because the Red Sox are playing good baseball. Finish things up next here on 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sport. In this town, sports happens 24/7. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
I got to tell you, you have been a role model. You have been a social tool for this organization since day one. I would like you to let us know what had clicked the past couple of weeks that you guys have been playing so great.
Man, I always tell the guys, it's really important how we start, but it's most important how we finish the season because we can change. We have the talent and we believe in them. So any player that's coming into the roster, he's doing a great job. They're bringing the energy, they're bringing the passion, and they're willing to learn. And that's what we want as a team. We want guys that want to play every single day. They want to put their heart on that field. So that's been the key from April until now, and I'm really happy where we are right now.
That was Wilson Contreras talking to David Ortiz, All-Star Weekend. Let me quiz you. Is there anything negative about the Red Sox winning streak? I have something that I hate about the fact that how hot they are. And he just kind of referenced it in a way. But what do you think that might be that I could find the negative in 11 straight and 16 of 20?
Is it like them overhyping it and saying like that this is like who they were all year and they're finally starting to catch the stride a little bit?
Sort of. It's really the idea that next year when they suck, Breslow can say it's a long season, it's a long year, it's a marathon.
Yeah,
they're validating, and I hate that. I hate that they will, next year, if you're critical of them in May, it's like, well, last year we didn't get hot until June and July. Like, I hate that because you sucked. You were a terrible baseball team, and this is fun. Lightning in a bottle. We can use all the words we talk, sustainable or not, all these things. But it allows guys like Breslow to look down their nose upon critics next Memorial Day, and that just annoys me.
Happened last year too, right? Weren't they kind of rocky out of the gate?
Yes. Yeah. So that's what this is doing. It's almost like preseason. September is an extension of the preseason. In baseball, April and May are an extension of spring training. Baseball season doesn't really start until mid-June.
So what? I just shouldn't watch those.
Right,
months?
Exactly. So you're suckering me into watching games in like late March sometimes, cold-ass, miserable baseball games, and when I care, you're going to tell me, oh, they don't really matter. It doesn't matter until July. It doesn't matter until we get hot in the middle. I don't like that. I don't care for that.
Start to the 4th, Andy.
That being said, this is kind of fun. They've hooked me. And you know what else? Got a couple shows next weekend. I hope I'm still hooked. I didn't want to have to do, it's training camp, it's Patriot time, like forget about the Red Sox. It's fun when you have both sports. When you don't have to pretend that practice is the be-all, end-all. When you don't have to pretend all we have is Patriots and we got to build up towards a joint practice and a preseason game. When you can enjoy that, but also maybe watch actual meaningful baseball in early August.
Competitive baseball.
That's actually fun. That's we're a baseball town, right?
Yeah. The only thing that I say with the baseball team is get me competitive baseball in September. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I want to be able to look in September, look at the standings, see the pennant race, and see where all these teams are lined up, and I want the Red Sox to be a part of that.
Also, do something at the trade deadline. Bring me something. Doesn't have to be Mason Miller and Xander Bogaerts. I know that's a dream. But what I don't want to hear, Craig Breslow, Georgia's guy, what I don't want to hear is, well, I mean, is there going to be a better post-trade deadline addition than Garrett Crochet? Don't tell me your injured guys are additions. No. They're part of your team already. They dug the hole. They didn't help get out. Whatever. I want actual additions. People from other teams that will help.
So I'm glad you brought that up because that's where I was kind of thinking too. But the other part of this too, I know there's a new manager, but a lot of same players, same kind of group. Post-deadline, if there's no moves made by the front office, don't pack it in and mail it in for the rest of the year. You better still be competitive. If this is real, don't just – and the fans shouldn't accept that. If they're good, let's say they stay hot to the deadline. It's like, okay, this team actually might be sustainable, and this is the 2026 Boston Red Sox, and then they suck in August after the front office made zero moves to nada. Don't let them off the hook for that. The players and the management and the front office should be held accountable if that happens.
Especially if you dig out of the hole being a scrappy, try-hard team.
The try-hard Tracy Red Sox.
The try-hard Tracy Red Sox can't turn off the try-hard on August 4th if they do nothing. You can't become the ho-hum, who cares Red Sox under Tracy.
Exactly.
You got to be try-hard through the totality of the season. All right, George, great job. Great job, boys. Great job, Jake.
Thanks, George.
Thanks, everybody, for listening, calling, taking part. I'll be back tomorrow, I believe, 10 to 2 with Alex Barth. So you'll catch us. Yeah, I think we'll get into some football talk, some training camp preview. Also might want to get into, I don't know if anybody saw this, Mike Giardi, Boston Sports Journal, ranked the top 25 Patriots over the last 25 years. I have things to say. You make a list and you put it in order, I'm going to bitch about it. I'll do that tomorrow, 10 to 2 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. See ya.
From the Town Fair Tire Studio, this is
Strong finger all up and go.
This is home of the 18-time world champion Boston Celtics.
All the way 3, Eddie hit.
WBZ FM and HD Boston 98.